All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new. Unfortunately, I am going to have to cancel the stream because I explicitly requested 100 likes in the chat, or the stream would get canceled. So that's it. Thanks for showing up, but I'm out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for waiting patiently for the intro to do its thing and let people file in. Yeah, we have quite a we have quite a conversation on our hands today. Quite literally the biggest PlayStation leak that we have ever seen. It may go down in history as the biggest leak we ever see from PlayStation, and that's saying something when you consider some of the past leaks we've gotten, like specifically with Naughty Dog and something like The Last of Us Part 2. This is well beyond that. Honestly, it's kind of insane. I imagine Insomniac is not feeling good right now. I imagine Sony is fuming right now, honestly. And I do just want to first acknowledge here that the shittiest part about this leak for Insomniac is not what's happening with the games. I mean, yeah, it always sucks for developers, no matter who they are, which development team it is, when early footage of stuff leaks out that they've been working really hard on for years, and they kind of want to show it in the best light. Obviously, that sucks. But what really makes this leak especially shitty is apparently employee information has leaked out there. Like, I mean, all of their info across the board. And to me, that's just kind of crossing a line that's totally wrong and unnecessary. And I just don't know. I just don't know what that achieves. Like, I can kind of understand people wanting to leak games and stuff and even details about games, but just crossing that line. I just want to acknowledge that first and foremost, that is what makes this leak particularly shitty. And you just kind of can't help but feel a little bit for Insomniac and the people over there because, I mean, I think it's safe to say that no development team deserves something like that. Yeah, that is pretty malicious. Actually, I would just say straight up that is very malicious. It's horrible. So I just want it to be known that we're not going to be talking about anything regarding that, obviously. There are going to be quite a few things that I am going to try to avoid discussing because this leak is, like, I really cannot overstate how insane this leak really is when I tell you that literally everything at Insomniac, everything has leaked out. I am not exaggerating. Yeah, and apparently we are even learning a little bit about what Bluepoint may be working on. Well, I say that as if we have any idea. A piece of concept art, even from Bluepoint Games, leaked, which they might seemingly be working on a new intellectual property. Like, Bluepoint Games might actually just be straight up working on a new IP. And apparently the reason why that leaked out is because Insomniac Games did some kind of overview of the studio or something. So yeah, I don't know. There is so much here to unpack, and you guys will have to bear with me because it's actually an overwhelming amount of stuff, and I'm going to do my best to kind of go over what we know. The biggest thing that I am going to talk about is the actual leaked projects. I'm not going to go into extreme detail about the leaked projects because, again, like, every single piece of information about projects going beyond, I think, even like 2030 for Insomniac have leaked. But I want to talk about their kind of roadmap. And, it's crazy because I've been sitting here for months and months and months saying, man, I really want a roadmap from Sony, from PlayStation. And, well, when it comes to Insomniac Games, I think it's safe to say that we now have a roadmap of what to expect from them. But yeah, so there is a lot. There is a lot to unpack here. And so, yeah, before I get into this, guys, I do want to just first ask, please hit that like button. It helps the streams a lot. We have over 500 people here already, which is awesome to see. Thank you for tuning in. Just let me know you enjoy the content and show some support by hitting that like button. If you want to help support my content directly, there are 3 ways you can do that. Okay, I do rely on you guys. I am fan funded. You can become a channel member, gain access to some exclusive perks. You can gift channel memberships, or you can donate a super chat, ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement, anything in between. It helps me tremendously. So a big thank you and a big shout out to everybody who shows support. We have Exley 3000 diving right in, dropping 5 membership gifts for the community before we can even get to the meat and potatoes of this topic. So Exley, a legend, showing up, doing what he does best. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Let's get some W's flowing in the chat for Exley. He brings us up to 5 members already. I have 2 chats here that I want to acknowledge. First, we have New Soul 9 with the $2 super chat saying, so the hackers weren't bullshitting. No, they did say they were going to do this. They did say that come Tuesday, if, they're not paid, they're gonna leak everything, and they weren't bluffing. It's all out there. I mean, literally everything is out there. And then we have Prawn Pizza, a member for 6 months, saying Wolverine has disappointed me. Looks like a God of War clone in terms of combat. Expected more. Doesn't do justice to the character. He should be fast and brutal. So yeah, I should just kind of let you guys know I'm not going over any of the story details regarding Wolverine, because that's the thing. When I tell you everything leaked, I mean the entire story of this game leaked. I don't know what Insomniac and Sony are going to do. I don't know that they can do anything, but it is wild that this game is at least a year or 2 away, and it's all out there. So I'm not going to go over that, but I am going to talk about some of the gameplay we've seen. And everybody's coming to their own conclusions. Everybody has their own opinions based on this gameplay. And the most important thing I need to stress right now is this gameplay is not final. And it's easy to assume that, oh, well, what we're seeing, like, that's clearly what it's going to be like, right? Like, it can't change that much. We don't know that. I don't know that. None of us know that. So I don't want to come to the conclusion that what I'm seeing is indicative of what the final product will be. However, there are some things, for example, that people are pointing out, like the walking animation. He's not necessarily walking, but like the fast walk animation is the exact same animation we see in Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 2018. It's like, guys, I highly doubt that's the final animation. Like, I'm sure Insomniac is aware it's going to look awfully strange if Wolverine is like, doing that slightly slanted, hunched over walk that the Spider-Men are doing. People would immediately call that out and be like, what the hell? Like, there's some animations that you could expect to be maybe reused, but that's definitely not one of them. And if they did decide to do that, I mean, that would be a little bit like, whoa, I mean, guys, come on. It's a whole new character here. Give him a new animation. So that's what I'm saying. It's stuff like that where it's like, I just have a difficult time believing that is going to be what we see in, apparently, now get this, 2026. Yeah, so that's one of the big surprises I think we learned with this leak, is that apparently Wolverine is targeting not even 2025, 2026. And Insomniac actually is planning to release a Venom game in 2025. So yeah, kind of a switcheroo here. I can't say I'm surprised by a dedicated Venom game. What I am surprised is that the Venom game is going to come out the year that we thought Wolverine would come out. So Wolverine is further out than we realized. What was leaked? Literally everything. I'm not exaggerating. Everything from Insomniac Games. Insomniac's, they're going to be making... So Insomniac's pipeline is as follows. Let me... I'm sorry if I sound like I'm all over the place this stream. There's just an overwhelming amount of information. For example, Sunset Overdrive sales. I just have this right in front of me. They sold 1.9 million, or Sunset Overdrive made 1.9 million. Insomniac's net earnings from Sunset Overdrive. You guys ready for this? I don't think you guys are ready for this. I wasn't ready for this. Do you want to know how much money Insomniac Games made off of Sunset Overdrive? $567. Yes, that's right. Insomniac could afford to buy a PlayStation 5 with the amount of money they made from Sunset Overdrive. That is... holy shit. That is wild. You're saying Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, so that's... I saw people talking about Ratchet and Clank. I didn't come across anything regarding Ratchet and Clank. Again, there's stuff that even I haven't come across yet. What's the situation with that? I did see people saying that they lost money on it. How much money? Yeah, dude, Sunset Overdrive I think flopped harder than anybody realized. Even I'm shocked by that. You're saying they lost 8 million. Somebody's saying 2 million. Game Riot's saying 2 million. Well, either way, I guess it was a loss. Does anybody know what the budget for it was? All right, let me All right, yeah, here's the leak compilation. Oh, Jesus. My lord, there is so much here. There is so much. So, concept art, gameplay footage, animation 2022, test footage, cast, build leaked, roadmap, leaked cutscenes, full plot, internal PC build, game PowerPoint presentation, design presentation, bar fight production, motion capture footage, bosses, abilities, side content, story traversal, and more. Madripoor vertical slice, 25 minutes. So that, I haven't seen that. 25-minute vertical slice. Fascinating. Insomniac extended roadmap, all future Insomniac projects, Insomniac budgets / revenue, PlayStation Studios Steam sales, Insomniac projected costs, Guerrilla overview, internal slides on gaming industry, Bluepoint overview, Bluepoint's next game concept art, Venom game overview, concept art, dev build, script for Ratchet and Clank 2029, Spider-Man 3 possible split into 2 parts, Spider-Man The Great Web, X-Men 2030 licensing terms. Like it's insane. It's absolutely fucking insane, dude. This is everything. This is everything. I don't think we've ever seen this, man. Like we got that Xbox leak, but it wasn't like their entire studio's entire roadmap. I mean, we got a lot of Bethesda projects, but I don't know. I'm just shocked. I did not expect this. And we have Corey, the legend Landiga, coming in, knocking it out of the park instantly, dropping a 20 bomb on us. Guys, let's get some W's flowing in the chat for our man Corey here. He's giving out some membership gifts today. He brings us up to 25 members already, crushing the goal. We barely even got started, and Corey's doing some heavy lifting alongside Exley. Let's update this goal. Corey, dude, thank you so much, man. Okay, let me edit this real quick. So I think I want to start with talking about Wolverine. Again, no plot details. We're not going over any of the plot. I know people were saying that like I should try to filter my chat and whatnot, but guys, here's the reality. It's unavoidable. Okay, like if people want to leak stuff and talk about it and spoil the story, I can't stop them. There's literally nothing I could do to stop that. You're talking about a game that's not coming out till apparently 2026. I can't go multiple years on this channel trying to fend off the leaks. You know, I'm just gonna try to encourage people. Please try not to do that. You know, it's just it's not courteous. You know, but I'm not gonna just blatantly talk about the story. I do want to talk about some of the gameplay. Now, I have to admit, I've only seen bits and pieces of gameplay. I have not seen much at all. Devil Shooter says he has a sniper ready. Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Figuratively literal, member for 4 months. He says, the roadmap confirmed my fear for Insomniac becoming the Marvel, with 4 out of 5 games being Marvel games. I am excited for the new Ratchet and Clank, though. It's worth noting, by the way, they apparently did have a new intellectual property in the pipeline. Let me bring this up here. Is it the roadmap? So, oh my God, there's so much. So the roadmap for Wolverine, planned 2026 release. Major milestone dates and progress with Sony and Marvel. Production milestones 13 through 19. Internal alpha build, summer 2025. Alpha build, fall 2025. So their roadmap here is Wolverine full alpha state come fall 2025. 3 years, 173 person team plus studio shared. Dude, it is crazy to be seeing this shit. But there it is, like full out. So to confirm here, like everything we're seeing of Wolverine is not even alpha, guys. This is why I'm saying you. I understand people are going to come to their conclusions based off this gameplay, and I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just saying we have to accept, dude. We are multiple years away from an alpha build. What we are looking at is not even remotely indicative of what this game is going to be at the end of the day. Now, maybe that's a little bit disappointing because it's like, man, really wanted to see Wolverine sooner rather than later. But we have Hellbound 1981. Look at these legends coming out in force today. Corey drops a 20, Exley drops 5, and then Hellbound 1981 follows up by dropping another 10 bomb. 10 more memberships gifted. Guys, let's see some W's in the chat for our man Hellbound here. I'll give you a Venom. I guess it's kind of appropriate today. Hellbound, thank you so much for keeping the membership train going strong today. We're already at 35 members, guys. I haven't even been streaming for a half hour, and you're already killing it. So really appreciate that support. I can only do what I do here because of that support. New Soul 9, you're saying this should be a lesson to Sony to up their security next time. This is all on Sony. I do agree Sony has to take some kind of responsibility for this, but the thing that's scary is because it was a ransomware attack. Like, dude, this could have just straight up been somebody clicking an email and getting scammed, like not realizing. That's what makes this shit so scary. So I don't even know that I could fully blame Sony. But yeah, you have to question like what's going on with their systems over there, man. And actually 3000 drops another 5 memberships, guys. I want to see the W's flowing in the chat. These guys just brought us up to 40 new members. 40 new members. Only 20 minutes into the stream. No, scratch that. Only 15 minutes into the stream, we're sitting at 40 members. Actually, dude, thank you so much. You guys are incredible. Seriously. The support is phenomenal. So 10 away from hitting another goal. You guys are insane. Yeah, this could happen to any company at any scale. My question is, why didn't Sony pay the ransom? That's my question, dude. Like, they knew. I'm not saying it was necessarily the right thing to do, but it's like, it's not unheard of at all for companies when they're in this position. Like, they know, like, oh my God, they actually have the data, right? And they're threatening to leak it unless we pay the ransom. I get it, man. Like, I understand why it's like, don't do that. Don't encourage them. Don't fund them. But, I mean, look at the result. Look at the result. We've seen other companies pay the ransom and potentially, I don't know, save themselves a massive headache. And as I'm saying that, we got Corey the Legend dropping another 10 bomb. Look at that. Corey does it. He gets us over the line. He brings us up to 50 members. I have to update the goal again. Doling out these membership gifts. Corey, dude, thank you so much, my friend. So we're sitting at 50 members already. I see the W's flowing in the chat. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Seriously. I know it can seem a little bit overly redundant, but I'm going to continue to thank these generous individuals who are funding the channel, who are gifting these memberships. They're the reason why I'm able to have these long, in-depth conversations the way I would like to. So thank you so much for all your support. Seriously. Incredible. And I should just let anybody know, just because I feel like we probably do have new viewers here. Click any of the icons up top. Click Corey's icon, Hellbound's, Exley's, and make it so that you're going to enable yourself. You're going to opt in to be gifted a membership. All right? There's no like recurring charges or anything like that. Corey says, we getting you to work, bro. I appreciate it. Let me see. We have, where are we at here? We have Salvazard06, member for 6 months. He says, so Insomniac lied when they said nothing was holding them back from a Sunset Overdrive sequel. Do you think the remaster on PS5 would sell well? Well, to be fair, I don't think they lied. Like, I think if they went to Sony and said, we would like to do a Sunset Overdrive 2, I think Sony would try to convince them why that might be a bad idea. But if it was like something they're completely adamant about, like we really, really, really want to do this, even if it's low budget, I could see Sony being like, okay, well, maybe it could be like kind of an interstitial game, you know, like a smaller scale game. So I don't think Sony would have completely rejected it. And, you know, it just seems to me that Insomniac, you have to look at the opportunity cost, right? And you also just have to look at how big of an opportunity it is to, and I understand wow, I guess Insomniac really is a Marvel studio now. I mean, it sure looks that way. Again, based off of one of the leaked roadmaps, apparently Insomniac, believe it or not, did have a new IP or does have a new IP planned for the year like 2031 or 2032. And I know that sounds ridiculous because it's like that's almost that's like nearly a decade away. I get that, but it at least shows that they're not going to just be the Marvel studio forever. It seems like it's something they want to kind of build upon going forward, like based off of the momentum they have. But there is plans in there. Wait, is that what it did? It say that a new IP in the Marvel universe? Oh, did I miss that? If that's the case, then damn. I gotta try to find the roadmap here. Hold on. Where's it at? Extended roadmap. Okay, I have it in front of me here. Holy shit. No. So it does say a new IP. Wow, that's crazy, dude. That's wild. So I'm not going to put this image up on screen. Guys, just to be clear, I'm not putting anything up on screen. You can find all of this on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors website. If you want to go there and follow along with me as best you can, check some stuff out for yourself, you can do that. But just for the sake of making sure I don't get this channel in any kind of trouble, I'm not going to be sharing any screens. But you can probably see them floating around on Twitter as well. But I'm looking at the picture here, and Insomniac Games roadmap extended: Spider-Man, Miles Morales 2020 and remastered 2020, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart 2021, 2022 nothing, 2023 Spider-Man 2, 2024 nothing, 2025. See, this is what's interesting. On their extended roadmap, they oh wow, this is wild. Wow, this is wild. So on their roadmap, it says Wolverine 2025. So I almost wonder if, like, I don't know, if maybe something happened from the time that they made this roadmap where it got pushed back. 2026, 2026. So 2027 apparently is when they're targeting Spider-Man 3. 2029, X-Men. 2031, new IP number 1. 2033, X-Men 3? What? Hold on. Wait, what's going? Something isn't right here. It just says X-Men 3, and then 2035 new IP 2. Now get this shit. Above that, 2024 Spider-Man 2 Online. That was obviously canceled. They were planning some kind of online component for Spider-Man 2. That got canceled. 2026 Wolverine Online. What? Dude, 2028 X-Men Online. Holy shit, dude. That is a crazy ass roadmap. I don't know. I mean, we do have to understand that these projects are so far out. So many things could change. You're saying it sounds like a BS slide? I mean, to be honest, it sounds extremely plausible, but it's like, it's just so far out. Now, I want to put this out here. What's very interesting to me about this slide is they have, so it's basically segmented to the bottom section says single player release schedule, and that goes to 2035. And then above it, it says Insomniac Games, it says multiplayer ambitions remain. Multiplayer ambitions, multiplayer 1.0 was supposed to start with Spider-Man 2 Online. Multiplayer 2.0 apparently begins with Wolverine Online. And then multiplayer 3.0, and this is the furthest it goes, I guess, reaches its potential with X-Men Online. So this is very fascinating to me because it reveals that they have this kind of duality where they want to have a single player roadmap and they want to have a multiplayer roadmap. You have to wonder how many other PlayStation studios internally have a similar roadmap where they want to try to do both. And maybe it's not plausible, I mean, maybe that's what we kind of saw with Naughty Dog, and we just found out that, well, it's not feasible in this case for them. So they had to just focus on a single player roadmap. But yeah, that roadmap is wild. I mean, an X-Men game from Insomniac, can't say it's the most surprising thing in the world, right? Like it's not honestly, it's not surprising. It seems like this is exactly where they were headed. Now, all right, here's where shit gets really, really, really interesting. Um, X-Men license terms. Now, guys, if you're dropping some super chats right now, forgive me if I'm a little bit late to your super chats. I just want to get this information out here because it's again, this is very, very revealing stuff. But we can learn a lot. Platforms, commitments, PlayStation console and PC. $120 million development commitment for each required title. Another 120 million in the aggregate for the PS. It says here PS4 title. $30 million marketing commitment, $9 million recoupable advance for each required title. Release all games by 2035. Sell all games through at least 2038 and later if Marvel allows us to continue. Exclusivity. Between now and December 31st, 2035, Marvel cannot release or announce any X-Men games on console, PC, streaming, or use an X-Men character as a competitive advantage in a game. An example would be play as Wolverine in Ultimate Alliance exclusivity on Xbox. X-Men characters can appear in multi-family Marvel games. An example, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Marvel retains rights to children's games and certain X-Men games from the 1990s, but they cannot release or announce these within 45 days before or after the release or announce of any other. Wow, man. Digital games, 9%, 9 to 18% of net sales. Physical games, 19 to 26%. DLC, 19 to 26%. Hardware bundles. Termination. So check this out. Neither party has the right to terminate the agreement for convenience. However, if we do not sell through at least 6 million units on PlayStation 5 and PC combined of one of our three major titles in the first year after its PlayStation console release, either party may terminate the agreement. If we terminate, we must pay Marvel a $9 million breakup fee, plus all unpaid portions of all guarantees. If Marvel terminates, the foregoing, it's really small text. Sorry. Should have my glasses right now. The foregoing fees are waived. The result is that we would not develop any further titles under this agreement, but we can continue to sell titles released before the termination. So that is like, I think one of the biggest reveals here is apparently Sony and Marvel have an agreement where minimum 6 million units sold in order for this to continue. And obviously they're doing, I think it's safe to say, like Spider-Man 2 has already crushed 6 million, easily going to sell 10 million at some point. Wolverine will be interesting. Wolverine is a title that I think they could definitely sell 6 million. But it just goes to show, man, that like, see this right here is why people were questioning what's going on with Blade and like what's going on with that situation. I can tell you right now, Blade's not selling 6 million on Xbox. No chance. There's no chance. Microsoft knows this. I'm not saying that means it's not going to be exclusive, but you could maybe see that Microsoft has the leverage of, but we have Game Pass and we're releasing on PC and Game Pass, we're trying to get it everywhere. So maybe Marvel's willing to negotiate a different type of contract with them. But I think that's very revealing. 6 million units minimum for Sony to be able to keep these games locked as exclusives. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you know what? I also want to mention here, maybe this has to do with the intellectual property as well, right? Like Blade is different from Wolverine. Wolverine is different from Spider-Man. All three are different from X-Men. So I don't know if that like 6 million sold is just an umbrella, like Wolverine has to sell 6 million. Spider-Man has to sell 6 million. X-Men has to sell 6 million. But really interesting stuff here. Let me read a couple of these chats. We got JuiceMan93 saying leaks don't matter. Look at the GTA 6 hype. Yeah, but yeah, I do. So if you were to ask me, like, what do I think this is going to do at the end of the day to PlayStation, to these games, to Insomniac? I'm gonna say it's hurts them, obviously, just like the GTA 6 leaks did hurt Rockstar and Take-Two. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, was it like permanent damage? Did this hurt the game? Like truly, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, that's true. The big difference here is this is the entire roadmap, the entire. I mean, it is a different situation to a degree, to a large degree, frankly. I mean, we are talking about, again, the entire plot of Wolverine and every piece of gameplay that they've developed so far leaking. You know, I'm curious. I want to ask you guys. I see Insomniac has tweeted as if nothing has happened. Oh my lord, what are they doing? Bro, Insomniac tweeted 35 minutes ago, wingsuit time, with a gif of Spider-Man or Miles Morales just like zooming. No way, bro. There's no way. They're just like, what? What leaks? What are you talking about? We don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is crazy. Maybe Sony told them not to acknowledge it. That's pretty. I gotta be honest. That's pretty fucking funny, dude. That is pretty funny. Everybody's waiting. Everybody everybody's waiting for them to reply, and they're just like, "Here's a Spider-Man gif." Good stuff. Good stuff. Touche, Insomniac. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, these games will be fine. Like, dude, these leaks are not doing anything for my excitement either way for Wolverine. Like just nothing has changed. I'm still just as excited for Wolverine as I was. And again, like, for the little bits of gameplay that I've come across, it just doesn't matter to me, because it's like, dude, I'm looking at shit that developers probably threw together as just a proof of concept. You know, it's just like, what does that mean for me? It doesn't mean anything. How could it mean anything for me? Now, if we were finding out that this game was slated for next year and like we're looking at the alpha build, then I'd be paying a lot closer attention. Like, okay, this is definitely relatively close to the final product, but we're not there yet. And you know what? Here's something else too. Here's a silver lining. Even though it's probably painful for the developers to see their work put out there on display like this, right? I'm sure it sucks. And to see like criticism that feels silver lining here is Insomniac's going to get a lot of feedback. And if there's something that they're about to do with Wolverine or any of their upcoming games that it's just very clear, like, that maybe that's a no-go, they have time to listen to that feedback and write it down and see if they can maybe do something about it. So just, kind of a more optimistic, I know it's a little bit forced, but a little bit more of an optimistic look where, yeah, or they could cut certain stuff. But yeah. Oh, I see what you guys did there. Cutting certain stuff. Yeah. Stream is rough. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It says we're good. Yeah, I think maybe there was just a little hiccup there. You know what I think happens sometimes? I think YouTube servers move my stream. Like, I think it switches servers sometimes, depending on how many people are coming in and going. I could be wrong, but like it's I notice it seems to happen when there's like a kind of an uptick. There's no audio. What? I'm hearing audio. Like, I'm on my own stream on YouTube. All right, there's a delay too. Oh man, chaos. Sony's getting to me, man. All right, we should be good now. We have a person with a super chat saying Insomniac dates show why it's dumb to be mad at GTA 6's date. First Wolverine trailer 2 years ago and comes out in 2026. Many games like Cyberpunk, Wukong, um, I think that's supposed to be Death Stranding 2 the same. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. It is, you can, when you see roadmaps like this, you can begin to understand why they're like, all right, when should we announce the X-Men game? Like, so that's the thing. Apparently Insomniac's going to make an X-Men game. Should they announce that now? Well, I mean, we know about it now, but pretend these leaks didn't happen. Like, should they announce that Wolverine game? Hell no, dude. That Wolverine game probably isn't coming in. I mean, their timeline says like 2030 or 2031. Like, it would be asinine to announce that now. But if they wanted to get people excited and be like, oh, by the way, they could, you know? And I just want to say, like, yeah, so some of the criticism coming from people where it's like, oh, Wolverine looks too similar to God of War. Like, dude, I'm not going down that path. I'm just not. Because, again, so much could change. But if you tell me, if Insomniac were to tell me, like a developer, if I talked to an Insomniac developer working on Wolverine, and they were like, yeah, we're taking heavy inspiration from God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, I'd be like, that sounds fucking awesome. I love those games. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a part of me that would feel like, ooh, I don't know about that. You know, like that sounds like it could be a bad idea. Like that sounds awesome to me. We have, let me see, Twilight Knight 06 saying, after these leaks, I truly believe that Jimmy Boy retired, Xbox chomping major publishers, FP not selling, pathetic PC sales. On top, he blew 4 billies. 4 billies. I don't think I've heard that term before. I don't know, man. There's another thing we have to go over here. It's a major point of contention. I have a write-up from Eurogamer. Sony concerned Microsoft's Activision Blizzard purchase will see Xbox leapfrog PlayStation. And there's kind of a big controversy around this where it's like, did this actually leak? Like, is this actually from the leak? Because there's a belief out there. Some people are saying that, like, no, this is not actually real. This is a made up slide or something that, fanboys or something made, and they're trying to throw it in here to make it seem like it actually came from the leak. And there's just a lot of back and forth. And I don't know. Here's what I'll say. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Because I saw people were pointing out that this leaked slide where Sony says that their strategy is outdated. People are saying that there's a Discord where the leaks originated, and the owners of that Discord came out straight up and said, like, that's not real. But then again, there's like not really any proof that it isn't. So we can't really, I don't know. It just seems like it can't be proven either way right now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm not here to tell you it's real or not. All right, I'm not here to say that because I don't think it matters at this point. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But what I want to do, you're saying Paul Tassi from Forbes confirmed it. Okay, well then if that's true, then I feel good about what I was about to say. Where I'm going to say I'm going to approach it as if it is real, just in case it does turn out to be real. Because the thing is, when we go over this information, it's not like anything crazy. Like, oh my God, I can't believe Sony may have said that. There is one thing they said that I think if they said it straight to their fan base, it'd be like, bro, I don't know, man. Yeah, I saw that too, Josh. If we have time, I'll talk about that. But let me get through some of these super chats and we'll continue on with the information here. Josh, you're saying here, so you have two chats back to back. You're saying a few thoughts regarding your last stream, I think, because you got your PS4 in 2018. You don't realize that the first 4 years of the PS4, what they were actually like. You forget the first 3.5 years of PS4 were fairly dry and didn't pick up until 2016 with the fond memories that we will all have from the PS4 generation. It wasn't until Uncharted 4 released when they started rolling. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're saying I should erase that tweet. Oh yeah, I probably should delete that. I did say I would delete it if it turns out it's not true. Um, yeah, I'll try. I'll try to have to. I'll have to try to remember to do that by the end of the stream. But Josh, yeah, that's true. Just to acknowledge, I did get ahead of myself with what I was saying, where I didn't really take into account 2013, 14, and 15, and how it just seemed like Sony was off to a very slow start, and it really wasn't until after that they started picking up steam. And I get what you're saying, how like, I mean, my read on what you're saying here is that it kind of shows that Sony did maybe a better job this time around, where they had more stuff planned out, ready to go sooner, which is good. But yeah, that's true. That's very much true. And I do appreciate your chats, man. And Josh, you actually have one more here where you say, so in reality, the PS5 has actually been a way better gen so far than the start of the PS4 gen. Now, with that being said, I do not disagree that the time is way overdue for a lot of announcements. Well, Josh, we got some announcements today. Maybe not directly from Sony, but we certainly got some announcements today. I don't mean to laugh. It's just like it's just so insane, man. But Josh, thank you so much for your chats, man. I really do appreciate it. Bobby Heckelmeyer says, where is the multiplayer game? So that's a good question. It seems like whatever they had planned for Spider-Man 2 multiplayer, they decided to scrap and focus on, I don't know. I don't know if Wolverine multiplayer or if they're going to be, we know they're working on a multiplayer game. They have confirmed this. The latest rumor was that maybe it was like a Spider-Verse game, but there's nothing here that talks about the Spider-Verse in the leak. So I think it got rolled over to maybe they're going to kick it off with Wolverine and then kind of let that segue into Spider-Man 3 and then maybe with X-Men. That's my read on it. And you're saying here the multiplayer game is not on the roadmap. Weird. No, it is. It is. I guess what I'm trying to say here is the roadmap when I'm looking at it. So let me zoom in on this roadmap. To me, it because there's a whole section that says multiplayer 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Multiplayer 1.0 has not started yet. It hasn't. They say, see, hold on though. Hold on. I just noticed Spider-Man 2 online, Target, 2024. I totally missed that. So you know what? Let me walk this back. Maybe it wasn't scrapped. Maybe they're going to have some kind of major announcement for Spider-Man 2 in 2024 that, yeah, well, it could have been canceled, but their timeline here says 2024. I see a lot of you guys saying it was canceled. I mean, is there something I'm missing here? Did we get confirmation of that? I don't recall ever getting I think people assumed it was. The leak from 2022. Well, I do just kind of wonder, like, do you think it could be something basic? Because it does say multiplayer 1.0. Maybe it could just be a very basic thing to just kind of get their feet wet here, where maybe sometime in 2024 they'll announce that there's going to be like a free, kind of like a Ghost of Tsushima Legends thing, where it's a free co-op update for Spider-Man 2 where there's like some new missions you can play with a buddy. One person plays as Miles, the other plays as Peter, and there's like a couple new missions that are specifically designed to do that. Because to me, that sounds like it would be a good way to get Insomniac comfortable, and get them familiar, and also a good way to avoid any unnecessary heat if they are not up to speed, because it's like, well, it's a free update. I don't know. I'm kind of just spitballing here, but I do just want to point that out, that it does say, and to be clear, when I'm looking at this roadmap, Spider-Man 2, you guys are saying that it was like this may have been canceled. Spider-Man 2's launch date is at the end of 2023 here on this graph. So again, it's Spider-Man 2, the end of 2023, Spider-Man 2 Online, which is what they're calling it. It looks like it's targeting the middle of 2024. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll find out. We'll find out. You're saying no Spider-Man DLC listed. I'm thinking that the Spider-Man 2 Online or whatever might be the DLC. You're saying look at the extended roadmap. I thought that. Am I not looking at the extended roadmap? Surely I am. Insomniac extended roadmap. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at. That's exactly what I'm looking at. So, I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up. Because, again, plans can change. All right, let me see. We got Josh again. Thank you for all the super chats, man. You're saying we have no roadmap for any PlayStation studios besides, I guess, Insomniac now, and I hope Sony is kind of in a way taking this as a lesson. The time's come. Yeah, like see that's the thing, man. In a way, it is kind of nice, and I know that, like, again, people's information was leaked, and that's trash. All right, like that doesn't have to be a thing. And so if I could, if it was up to me, I would say this leak should have never happened because of that. But I can't deny that it is kind of nice to get insight like this, because it's true that, like, we've been over here being like, God damn, we know nothing. And now we know everything from Insomniac. And it's like, well, I don't know that I need to know everything. Like it's kind of a conundrum where it's like, I wanted to know something. Like, if it was something where, I don't know, Spider-Man 2 Online leaked. Corey, you're saying you got to go, man. Well, dude, I really appreciate you stopping by, man. I hope you can catch the rest of the stream after the fact. And thank you so much for, again, dropping as many membership gifts as you did, dude. Very kind of you to do that. And yeah, enjoy your day, man. But yeah, I don't know. I would have just preferred a couple things to leak, not literally everything. Yeah, we have a good roadmap now for Insomniac. An X-Men, dude, you know what's crazy about that X-Men game? That's going to be a PlayStation 6 game. Like, full-blown PlayStation 6 game. That's insane, dude. All right. Let me see here. Ice, Rezo, you're saying the leak proves that Sony should invest more in their IPs instead of Disney IPs. These IPs are not profitable for Sony. It benefits Disney more. I half agree with you. I can assure you that it is profitable for Sony, at least enough to want them to continue growing this partnership. Like, the idea is Spider-Man 3 will do incredible, right? X-Men should do incredible for them. I don't know that they're like... It's about risk mitigation. All right? If Sony has a choice, either try again with something like Resistance Fall of Man or make an X-Men game. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like one has so much more risk involved than the other. It's not even funny. And it's like, if you're trying to run a successful group of studios at a time when budgets are increasing and ballooning, and the risk of investing that type of money in a AAA game is the highest it's ever been, you cannot blame Sony. In my opinion, I guess you can if you want, but I feel like I can't blame Sony for deciding, you know what, like, at least with Insomniac, let's stay the course here. You're saying there's a new leak. Spider-Man 2 had a budget of $350 million. Oh man, there's too much shit, man. I cannot keep track of all this. This is ridiculous. There's an overview of this Venom game. Apparently it's gonna be called Venom Lethal Protector. 8 to 10 hour standalone experience. Will cost $50. Q2 2025. Oh, holy shit. Venom's 2025? What, dude, what the what? That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Leaked mocap footage, model dump, list of Insomniac games budgets and ROI for Miles, Ratchet, and predictions for all their upcoming titles. Ooh, okay. Now this is some juicy stuff here. All right, let me see if I can read this correctly. Lifetime units, Miles Morales, 10.2 million. Total revenue, 260 million. Total costs, 156 million. Total profit, 104 million. ROI, 122%. Break even, 3 million. So Miles Morales was a fucking big success, seemingly. This, dude, see, this is the fucking juicy stuff right here, man. Like, this is the shit that shows us exactly what, like, how much money Sony's making, how much they might be losing. And I'm not, again, I know Sony doesn't want this shit out here, but it just allows us to get at least, I mean, look, it's out here, so it allows us to get a better read on what their expectations are, what our expectations should be going forward from them. No. They didn't break even with Miles Morales. They made a profit of $104 million by selling 10.2 million units. I don't have a date here, though. They're saying that in order to break even for Miles Morales, they needed to hit 3 million. They hit 10 million. And they made 104 million in profit. So again, I don't know that those profit margins are massive, but it's a healthy profit for a game that, you know, cost the total cost of it was 156 million. So Spider-Man 1 remastered, lifetime units sold 4 million, total revenue 50 million, total cost 39 million. What the fuck? $39 million for Spider-Man remastered. Total profit 11 million. ROI 48%. They needed to sell 1 million to break even, so they sold 4 times that. Ratchet and Clank, 2.2 million lifetime units sold, 73 million in total revenue, 81 million for total costs, negative 8 million in total profit. ROI, negative 10%. Break even, they needed 2 million. They got 2.2, but it still wasn't enough, apparently. So yeah, see this right here, man. This right fucking here. People wonder. Like, man, why is Sony turning Insomniac, or why is Insomniac choosing to become a Marvel only? Because this is why, dude. They made a brand new fucking AAA Ratchet and Clank game, and that shit couldn't even break even. The shit lost them money. I mean, fuck, man. I mean, it happens. I get it, but it's like, it's just depressing when you see, like, dude, everything here, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 1 remastered, Spider-Man 2, it all made a fuck ton of money and profit. And meanwhile, Ratchet and Clank, it's like, that's scary, man. That is some scary shit. I mean, look, it was a launch PS5 title, so maybe, like, when it's all said and done over the entire lifetime of the PS5, maybe it'll break even. But you're saying that means they're creatively bankrupt? I doubt it, man. I don't look at it like that. I look at it the opposite. I look at it as they maybe want to get more creative, but let's put a new Ratchet out. Ratchet's a known commodity, right? Like that's people know what Ratchet is. Surely that'll do well enough, right? And it's like, sorry, dude, even Ratchet and Clank can't even break even. It's like, well, what the fuck chance does a game like people keep saying, like, I want to see Resistance come back. It's like, dude, if Ratchet and Clank can't even break even, you think Resistance is going to stand a chance? You're talking about a whole generation of gamers that have no fucking clue what Resistance even is. Now, maybe, I mean, I'm not saying guaranteed. I'm just saying it's like, that's crazy. That's sad. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe Resistance could have done better if they chose to go with that. It's hard to say. But I just feel like generally speaking, like something like Ratchet and Clank has a wider appeal because it appeals to like different, all different ages. Yeah, I'm not saying you're right. You don't have to know Resistance. Yeah, that's true too, Josh. I should keep that in mind. Maybe I am getting ahead of myself because you're reminding me that was during the shortage and it was one of the first like PS5 only games. So maybe that did hurt it. I don't know. It's just that the sales difference between Ratchet and the Spider-Man games is like, whoa. Massive difference. It just, I don't know. I just think we have to pay attention to this. That's all. I think this gives us somewhat of an answer. I really do. People are always asking for Sony to bring back these classic, like bring back Sly Cooper, bring back Jack and Daxter, bring back this, bring back that, and it's like, you like somebody could say, well, was the budget for Ratchet and Clank was 73 or 81 million, the total budget, and I don't know. I think I have to imagine that includes marketing. And that's pretty fucking low, dude. Like that's pretty low compared to like say something like again, even something like maybe not Miles Morales, but if I look here, the budget for Spider-Man 2, $315 million. Like, are you kidding me? The budget for The Last of Us Part 2, like $210 million. It's like, yeah, you can. I just think people need to look at this and kind of realize that this is why Sony's probably hesitant to dive headfirst into, let's bring back these games. It's like, well, yeah, sorry. Why is everyone yelling? I'm probably yelling. I don't mean to be yelling right now. But let me continue on here. So we have Spider-Man 2. Now, I assume this is projected. Okay, this is projected for Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 lifetime units, 10.5 million. That has to be on the conservative side, dude. Like, that has to be on the conservative side. Because I think we all agree that, like, this is very likely going to blow past 10 million at some point. But their projection here is 10.5 million units sold. The total revenue that they're targeting to make from Spider-Man 2 is $390 million. The total cost to make it, and I assume market it, because it's in a crazy high number, $315 million. Total profit would be $75 million. ROI, 35%. Break even, we need to sell 5.5 million. Here's my question. 315 million. That has to be counting marketing, right? Like, that has to be counting marketing because that's crazy. That's a large sum of money for one AAA video game there. There's another leak about game sales going up to $80. What? Where's that coming from? You guys all have to give me like I don't know, some direction here because there's so much shit out there in the void, man. $80. I mean, it's not like, to be honest, 80 to 100. Ooh. So $80 is believable. Going up to $100 is wild. Like Sony, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's going to work. Like, I think if you go to $80 for a AAA game, you're really teetering on the edge, or maybe you already went over the edge where it's like, dude, a lot of people are not going to pay that much. I think a lot of people will, but I think you're kind of reaching that point where it's like, I think you're going to become a lot less broadly appealing, to a lot of people. But you'll have to you got to refer me to where exactly, like which if you go to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors page, the Insomniac Leaks compilation, tell me which bullet point to click on to get that information, because there's so many bullet points. Now, let me finish this off here though. Projections for Spider-Man 3 and Wolverine. Spider-Man 3 projections, 14.5 million units sold lifetime. Total revenue, $555 million. Total cost, $385 million. Oh my God. That's nearly $400 million. Profit projections, $170 million. ROI, 75%. Break even, 5.5 million. Wolverine projections, lifetime sales, 10 million units. Total revenue, $390 million. Total cost, $305 million. So, yeah, Wolverine is as triple A as it gets. Total profit, $85 million. ROI, 40%. Break even, $5 million. Well, there you go. I mean, it's all laid out there in front of us. That's crazy. That is wow. All right, let me see if I'm behind here at all. Drive by Joe, you're saying the fighting on Wolverine better not be anything like Spider-Man. Well, that's what I'm saying, man. Like people were pointing out that some of the gameplay leaks of Wolverine, it almost looks like it's like a bigger version of Spider-Man, almost just like punching the enemies with claws and like doing basic swipes and stuff. And I'm like, guys, like I'm not sitting here saying that isn't like, that's for sure not what it's going to be, but it's like, I don't think it's a coincidence, or I do. So yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that it looks similar to Spider-Man. Like, dude, you're talking again about, it's not even pre alpha. You know, it's literally like proof of concept shit that they're doing. But then again, I need to make it clear. Yeah, that's the thing. D, you're saying, look at the 25-minute video. I want to make it clear. I've only seen a few snippets of footage. So if I see more and it looks like it's more, you know, it's more fleshed out, maybe. But again, I'm not gonna show any of that. But I'll be honest, guys. Like the stuff that I'm seeing, it's like I'm not seeing like something that makes me go, oh my God, this looks horrible or bad. Like I really, I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, I'm hyped. Like I can't wait to see this game fully, like, officially revealed, man, because that's the thing that truly sucks about seeing this early shit, is like, this is shit that when devs are working on it, like, they never expect anybody ever to see this except the dev team. And that's why it sucks, because it's like, I'm sure they know what our expectations are, man. Now, I'm not saying like, hey, guys, did you notice that Wolverine is not dismembering anybody? And there's, you know, he's not cutting anybody's head off? Yeah, I noticed that. I'm not going to sit here and say that if we don't get that level of gore, I'm not going to be excited for the game. I would be a little disappointed and like, well, you know, that feels like it should have been part of the game, but it's not make or break at all, you know? It's like, there can be certainly brutality. I mean, like, dude, I wasn't, all right, well, maybe The Last of Us is a bad example. In The Last of Us 1, when I was playing as Joel, I wasn't like dismembering people, as far as I can remember. And you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, fine. Like, fine. It can still be brutal, it can still be badass, but I will say Wolverine has sharp claws, you know, so it's like, you're saying it looks great in the 25-minute video? Yeah, I gotta watch that, because I didn't know there was a whole vertical slice out there. That's crazy. Like, you almost gotta wonder, was that like a vertical slice that they were gonna show at some point? Rich Rod 908 saying Insomniac's roadmap is better than all of Xbox's. Rich Rod taking shots. Not even holding back. Will Hancock saying, I saw the leaks. Insomniac made a profit for all the games on the leak. The only loss was $8 million on Ratchet and Clank, but Spider-Man games were making $150 million plus. They're winning. Well, that's why I'm saying, like, people wondering, like, man, why is Insomniac not taking any risks out here? And they're just becoming the Marvel studio. Like, dude, they're raking in the fucking cash, bro. Like, they are. And you better believe that this is not something where Sony's forcing them. Insomniac and Sony are looking at each other being like, let's keep going. Let's see how much we can really make off this. Let's see how far we can take it. Let's see just how successful we can really become with Marvel here. So, HN, you're saying if Sony knew they won't pay the ransom, they should have had a state of play yesterday to reveal all of Insomniac's upcoming games ahead of the hacker. Yeah, dude, that would have been the funniest shit ever. Sony's like, guys, surprise state of play at the end of December, and it's like, it's going to be dedicated to talking about Insomniac's roadmap. That would have been some funny shit, man. That would have been some funny shit. I mean, if they did that, I don't know. There's no way they would have been able to put that together so quickly. You know what I think? Here's what I think. I think Sony knew. I mean, obviously, like, they investigate it and they find out, like, yeah, all of this shit was taken, like everything. They probably just decided, fuck it. Just fuck it, like, we can't do anything about it. Because that's the thing is, like, I do wonder, the idea is, okay, we pay the ransom. And if we pay the ransom, I mean, how do we know it still won't leak? That's the thing I don't quite understand, where it's like, do they have a way to prove that it can't leak? So they might just be paying $2 million for nothing. So they may have just said, you know what, we're not bargaining with these people. Fuck them. Do what you want. Put it out there. And for our employees, we'll get you, squared away with different identity theft services and all that. I could see Sony absolutely taking that approach where they're just like, yeah, fuck you. Like, put it out there. We're still going to, we're still going to, like, that's the thing, man. It's like, regardless of our thoughts on Wolverine, and this is just the truth, guys, like, regardless of what anybody thinks about these Wolverine leaks, this game's going to sell millions and millions of copies. Like, it's going to kill, that's just how it goes. And, we know about an X-Men game. It's like, yeah, that's great. When's it come? 2030. Oh, okay. So how relevant is it really? It's not good. It's not ideal, but it's just like, I could kind of see why Sony would be like, well, it's the price of doing business, I guess. Yeah, what Sony should do is try to educate all of their employees and developers as much as they can about these ransomware attacks and how to avoid them. Because this isn't, like, again, we don't know how this happened, but it's very likely that somebody at Insomniac, like, just clicked on the wrong email and input their info on the wrong website or something. That's kind of how this shit works. Yeah, we're going to get to that. You're saying check out the most important part of the leak, what Sony really thinks of Microsoft. We're going to get to that. That's actually coming up next. I just want to make sure I'm trying to get as much stuff squared away with Insomniac themselves here. I want to check out the Bluepoint thing too. Yeah, Naughty Dog's like first time. But you're saying Marvel literally shafting Sony 50% for bundles is wild. I didn't see that part. I think I was over that infograph, but I didn't actually catch that. That is crazy. Echoes 93 are saying if Sony is quiet, then the leaks won't stop. Yeah, but that's the thing, man. A leak on this scale, Sony could do a showcase tomorrow. They're not going to be showing us stuff that's projected to come in 2029 and 2030. It's worth noting that even though this last Ratchet and Clank game didn't make a profit, worth noting, important here, 2029, a new Ratchet and Clank game. So that to me is also very telling that Sony is willing to make some of these games that might not make a profit or might even not break even, but they're just not going to be the biggest investments that they make. So, yeah, I don't know. If it came out in 2029, that would be what, like at not too long after the PlayStation 6 comes out, I guess. Josh Z, a member for 44 months. Thank you for that, buddy. You're saying this shows why Sony doesn't focus on classic IPs anymore. These games didn't have the sustainability of Sony's more cinematic IP. Anyway, I'm back on God of War Ragnarok trying to get the platinum. Then I will focus on the DLC. Serious Rust. Yeah, good luck, man. The platinum can be kind of tough. It can at certain points, and the DLC obviously can be tough as well. So have fun, man. And Josh, you're saying Bluepoint concept art for new IP was just leaked. Yeah, dude, that's wild to me that Bluepoint's making a new IP apparently. I got to look at this concept art more closely, though. And the Battle Size says if Wolverine doesn't have dismemberment, big L. I agree that is an L. It's not an L that's going to make me be like, wow, I'm not excited to play it anymore. But it really is just like you got to have some kind of dismemberment. Like it doesn't have to be over the top. And it could be occasional, but it's like, come on, man. Like the dude has razor sharp claws. It's like it's just awkward if there isn't dismemberment. Irfan, you're saying check other vids. All right, let me dive a little bit deeper here. Hold on, I have to correct this on Twitter because everybody's saying that this is not fake. I don't know, dude. People are still saying it's fucking fake. I shouldn't have said anything about it. I regret saying anything about it because it's like, I don't know. It seemed like it could be fake to me, but I don't know. Now apparently it's not. All right, let me try to sort this out. Let me check the Bluepoint leak real quick. New Wolverine gameplay 3 hours ago. Hold on. I'm going to mute my desktop audio just in case. Oh, it's already muted. I don't want anything to come. Let me. Oh, holy shit. Oh. Okay, I'm not playing any audio. I'm watching it right now. Oh my god. Wow. Okay. I was saying this is like pre alpha. Dude, this looks a bit more fleshed out than I anticipated. I did not see this shit. So he can climb walls with his claws. Okay, now I understand what people were saying about this being a lot like Spider-Man. Because he's moving, man. Like he's not swinging around and shit, but he's definitely traversing vertically a lot better than I would have thought. Sorry, I'm and the city, I don't know, I guess this is the Madripoor setting. It's certainly more fleshed out than I expected. I wonder if this is from the 25-minute vertical slice. It still looks kind of rough though, I have to admit. Like I just the footage I saw earlier was like really, really rough shit. This is by far like the most polished I've seen. It's not combat though. He's just kind of like, I don't know, I guess going from point A to point B. It looks pretty good though, dude. It does. Like I'm liking it so far. His jump animation is a bit awkward though. I can tell. Like that's going to need some work. I think. Yeah, it's basically got like a parkour thing going on. That's the traversal, if I could say it right, test from the vertical slice. It does look pretty promising. I mean, I guess what's just interesting is I think some people were like envisioning, oh, Logan, he's gonna like ride a motorcycle in an open world, and it's like to see this, it's very much the opposite of that, where it's like, no, it's kind of like a city. It's not New York, obviously, but it's just somewhat of a cityscape, and you're kind of parkouring everywhere. Um, Definitely different than what I was expecting, but it didn't look bad. It actually looked pretty smooth. The jumping animation needs some work though. Looked a little bit rough there. Um, Josh, you're saying I can't believe this leak is 2 years until alpha. Some of the stuff I'm seeing actually already looks really, really good. I can't lie. I'm more hyped. I mean, dude, I gotta be honest. Like when I clicked on this little link here, I did not expect to see that. I'm like, this actually looks pretty fleshed out. But I got to see some more combat. I want to see some combat sections in this. Drive by Joe, you're saying, what do you think about Sony dropping games cross-plat 2 years or so after the PS5 Pro to rake in more money? Well, the PS5 Pro, everything's going to be still on the base PS5. If you're talking about PS4, as I didn't see anything in these leaks saying anything like that, like they're gonna, I don't know, man. I would think it would be extremely detrimental for Sony to release anything on PS4 after releasing the PS5 Pro. Like that, honestly, that would just be dumb, in my opinion. So Drive by Joe, you corrected yourself here. You're saying Xbox. So if I'm reading what you're saying correctly, you're asking, what do I think about Sony dropping games on Xbox like a couple years after PS5 to rake in even more money? I don't think so, dude. I don't think that would be a wise move. Because I feel like the target, I feel like Xbox owners kind of are the target audience to a certain extent, where it's like anybody who's willing to buy an Xbox, clearly you're willing to buy a console. So if we have really tantalizing games that are exclusive to our console, you'll probably consider buying it to play those games, right? So yeah, I could see maybe some live service games, possibly. I think it's a real possibility, but outside of that, I'm not so sure. Yeah, I don't think so, honestly. The Falling Star with a $5 donation. Really appreciate that, Falling Star. When we're talking about $400 million budgets, again, nothing is out of the question. I mean, yeah, you're kind of not wrong there. I don't know. I just don't imagine Sony ever doing something like that, man. Let me see this other leak. This other footage. Okay, this is inside the bar. Yeah, you could tell this is pretty early. Looks like there's some destruction. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this man, and it looks, he's got a katana through his body right there. Okay, see, that's hard for me to see. That shit right there, that looked awesome. This is what I'm saying. I can't be mad at this, man. He just flew out a fucking window with like 3 dudes on his back, and somebody stabbed him through his torso with a katana. He gets up, he pulls the katana out, he throws it, goes right through somebody's head, bro. I'm like, love to see it. Now, granted, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't they do dismemberment? Because it's like, this dude, he just threw a katana through somebody's skull, bro. He went limbs flying. I mean, we're just like one step away from that. Maybe they just didn't get to that part yet. Oh shit, hold on. I can't have it. I'm not trying to have any audio. So yeah, the camera's it's very close up. It's like over the shoulder. I kind of get what you guys are saying. He's doing these big slashing attacks, and you're seeing like the scratch marks all over their body, but no. Yeah, like some of these attacks definitely look like they should be cutting through people's arms, and He's got like a rage mechanic here. I will tell you right now, this is more. Oh, that's awesome. You just fucking dude. I gotta admit, man, I'm hyped for this, dude. I do hope they up the gore because it's primed. This shit is primed for like some serious gore factor if they want to do it. It looks really good. I'm surprised. I didn't see this footage yet. I'm liking what I'm seeing. So people comparing it to God of War, it definitely, I see what they're talking about. It has that same camera angle, and you can tell that you can tell that like there's inspiration there with the kind of weightiness to it. But that's the thing, he's not slow. Like I was watching this gameplay clip, dude. He's jumping all around. You know, honestly, it's a kind of exactly what I expected. And I will say the only thing missing here is the extra layer of violence in the form of the gore factor. But this looks very good. And now there's like some storyboards and stuff. All right. All right. Let me see here. I know there's still probably a lot I haven't seen. Yeah, what's so crazy about seeing this gameplay is, again, man, like this is not even alpha, and it doesn't look that bad at all from what I just saw. Like you could tell this is a vertical slice because it has more polish, but it still looks really, really, really rough. Where I'm just thinking, like, dude, I can only imagine what the fuck this is gonna look like 2 years from now. I mean, people who are saying that this is like Spider-Man, so if they're saying it's like Spider-Man in the sense that you're facing multiple enemies and you can kind of, I guess, like Wolverine seemed a little bit not, I don't know if bouncy is the right word, but just he definitely can move from point A to point B very quickly. Yeah, like of course it's going to share some similarities in the sense that, oh, wow, I can tell these are the same guys that made Spider-Man. But I'm watching this, I'm like, dude, yeah, Peter Parker and Miles, they're not doing anything like this in the Spider-Man games, like, and it's still so early, man. It's missing so much detail. Yeah, I'm excited, bro. I gotta say, like, I think I'm gonna try to watch more when I get the chance. A leaked cutscene, I don't want to watch that. Um, animation 20. I want to see. So hold on, let me check this vertical slice again real quick. Oh, I'm not downloading anything. Fuck that. You want me to download it? Yeah, no thanks. I think I'll just leave it at that. Honestly, I don't know that I need to see any more. As I'm clicking more gameplay footage. All right, hold on. Maybe. Dude, this is so early. It looks cell shaded. Yeah, this is super early, man. It looks not good. This is a proof of concept I'm watching. This is not. Yeah, that's not shit anybody should be seeing. That's developer stuff right there. Let him cook. Yeah, let him cook. Yeah, the investigation part. Yeah, it doesn't look like horrible, but it's just you could tell like this is just. Yeah, they're just trying to figure out what they're doing here. By the way, guys, we have over 700 people here watching, which is awesome to see. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. Could you do me a favor and just hit that like button? I'd greatly appreciate that. We're sitting at 300 likes. Let's see if we can get to 350, maybe even 400. Really, really appreciate that. We're gonna so I want to read this article. This is a pretty significant thing that came out with this leak, which I believe at this point in time, it has been confirmed that this is legitimate, that this is part of the leaked document. I still do see people saying this is fake and this is not real, but again, we'll just stick with it being real. Because again, it's not anything insane, but it may let us know how Sony really does feel about Microsoft and the situation that's going on with them. Julian, with a super chat, you're saying, did you see the Spider-Man 3 slide where they are splitting the games into 2 parts over 2 years to squeeze out an extra $30 from players? It's pretty ugly. Hold on, I think I read something about that, but I didn't click on it. Oh, Spider-Man 3 possible split? Oh, Jesus. Okay, this looks like a nightmare. This slide right here, release target, holiday 2027. Part 1, holiday 2027. Part 2, holiday 2028. Multiplayer date, day and date with part 1. Combo 2029. So $50 for part 1, $50 for part 2, and then $60 for the combo in 2029? What? Dev cost. This is fascinating. Single title. Oh, yeah, you know what? I don't know. It pretty much does look like they're trying to see if they can possibly split Spider-Man 3 into 2 separate $50 games. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing, like, I could see why they're trying to, like, go in this direction where it's like, how can we maximize just how much money we can squeeze out of this? But I don't know, man. I have a hard time imagining they'll do that. You know? But it depends. It really depends on, like, okay, how beefy is part 1 going to be? Here's the question. The question we shouldn't be asking if Sony wants to do this with Spider-Man 3 is, are they trying to rip us off? It should be, will it be worth it? Well, I guess it's kind of the same question. But, you know, from a less cynical standpoint, it's like, okay, you want to... So, holiday 2027, that'll be at the launch of the PlayStation 6, possibly. And then part 2, holiday 2028. $50, I mean, $50. Well, I'll tell you this. If Sony wants to do that, and both versions of the game feel like there's enough content here to charge $50, definitely, I'm fine with that. If the game is so big that they're like, we definitely can't charge $80 or more for this, but we could just slice it into 2 parts, and as long as each part feels like it's worth at least $50, then I don't see the problem there. Unless there's something I'm missing. So, you know what I will say, though? That could hurt the game, though. Because people are going to be like, wait, $50? So it's not a full game? It's not a full AAA game? That's actually... Dude, that's actually kind of really smart if you think about it. Where it's like, okay, this game... Spider-Man 3 is going to be like a 35-hour title. Like, so Spider-Man 1 was... How long did it take to complete the main story in Spider-Man 1? 18 hours, 15 to 18 hours for the story. Spider-Man 2, 15 to 18 hours for the main story. So Spider-Man 3, if they want to split it into 2 parts, would have to be significantly bigger, maybe double, like 30 to 35 hours, give or take, maybe 40 hours. I think 40 hours would probably be the ideal target range. So it's like, okay, well, if we would charge $70 for 15, maybe 15 is too low, like 18 to 20 hours. We charge $70 for 18 to 20 hours, $35 for extra content for like, you know, all the side content. Okay, well, Spider-Man 3 divided into part 1, 20 hours for story content, maybe like 5 to 6 hours for side content. Yeah, that tracks, man. If you think about it, that tracks. And I don't know. You're saying what a gymnastic thinking. There's no mental gymnastics here, dude. It's just basic math. I mean, it's like, what do people expect, dude? Like, I'm serious. Spider-Man 3 is, do you know what the expectation for Spider-Man 3 is? It needs to be bigger and better. It needs to be bigger and better than Spider-Man 2 was. Okay, how do you make that happen? It's going to cost a lot more money. Okay, well, you know, we up the, and apparently it's going to cost about another $50 million or so, or $75 million more dollars based off what we talked about. I mean, if that's where we're headed, like this is, yeah, they're going to have to start doing shit like this. And I don't know, from my perspective, just show me what you got and how much you want for it. That's all that matters to me. I'm not doing this shit where it's like, well, it's not $70, so it must not be. Listen, if Sony comes out and says we got 20 hours of story, 6 hours of side content or something like that, $50. Sounds great. You know? And they say, yeah, we have part 2 coming next year, same thing. 20 hours single player. Now, if they go lower than that, where it's like Spider-Man 3 part 1, 15 hours, 3 hours of side content. So 18 hours for $15. I mean, I'd probably still pay for that. I'd have to see it first though and see, well, okay, you know, again, show me what you got. But it's very interesting because you know what it reveals to me? It reveals to me that Sony is getting pretty serious about trying to figure out how to handle these games getting bigger and more bloated. And, you know, it's like, well, the last game we made took 5 years or 6 years or whatever it was. It cost over $300 million and we sold it at $70. And, you know, we have one chance with this one game. It's like, well, what if if the idea is that, well, okay, are these games going to continue to get bigger? Yes, they are. Why? Well, because that's what the market expects. So they're going to require even more dev time. They're going to require even bigger budgets. They're going to require even more resources. I mean, we are not too far away from some AAA game. Sometimes we do see it. It's like 6-7 year timelines. I would be totally fine if they're like, we're just going to cut it up. And that's it. So you can get it like on a more frequent basis, right? But only if it makes sense to do so. Only if it makes sense to do so. Only if they're like properly planning for it. If it's just simply like, well, we were going to charge $70 this one time for this complete 40-hour long single player game, but now we're just going to chop it in half and make an extra $30. I mean, if it feels like it was forced, then yeah, that, you know, that gets us into the whole conversation of like padding content, you know, what should be cut, what seems like it's artificially extending it. It's interesting. Saying the crash is coming. I mean, maybe. That's the thing, dude. Like, looking at Insomniac Games' roadmap, it clearly shows, like, yeah, the things are only expected to get bigger and bigger and more expensive. I mean, God, may the Lord have mercy on Sony's soul if they try to come out here and charge $80 for games. Like, people lost their shit with $70, and 70 is the new standard. If they try to go up again, oh man, it's going to be an absolute shitstorm. I honestly do think. I honestly do think that if Sony wants to go that route, that might be better. It might be an easier pill for everybody to swallow, as long as it feels like you're getting your money's worth. Jake Skew 27 with a super sticker that's very much appropriate to the conversation. Thank you for that, man. Ice Rezo, you're saying MBG, the audience is shifting from superhero entertainment. The market is getting saturated, which is causing fatigue. They need to diversify. Well, that gives me, that's why I have hope in Insomniac is planning two new IPs by the year 2031 and 2034, apparently. It's very far away, but it's there. They have plans for it. Things could change. Maybe that timeline would have to get moved up. I don't know. Because you're right. There is some superhero fatigue setting in, surely. But I don't know. They could probably just, if they go back to the basics, I think they could win a lot of people over again. Isn't that what the fans are asking for? Go back to the basics? Just focus on great storytelling and, doing justice to the characters and all that. So I don't know. I'm curious. How do you guys feel about that? The idea of Spider-Man 3 being split into two parts. First part, holiday 2027. Second part, holiday 2028. $50 for each. Because that's the thing. The only thing we're missing here is they don't give us an idea of how much content is going to be in there. Tom from Toonami, so I see some people saying they're good with it. Tom, and I'm honestly curious, what about it you think is awful? Because there might be something I'm missing here. You're saying not happy, honestly? You're saying you hate this? It's not the movie business. Splitting it for the sake of making more money is wild. Is it though? Well, hold on. My question is, if the budget is increasing though, significantly, why does the idea of making the need to make more money, why does that become so wild? Yeah, that's true. Final Fantasy VII is split into 3 parts, and people seem to be okay with that. It's a viable option if they do it right. If they do it right. And I think when you look at Final Fantasy, it's a great example. Final Fantasy Remake, they're clearly doing it right. Nobody walked away from Final Fantasy VII Remake being like, oh, there wasn't enough content. No, there was definitely enough content. And the sequel is clearly, Part 2 is going to have enough content as well, obviously. You're saying just make a smaller game. I don't get the whole blowout, put the budget in smaller games. Yeah, that's a viable option as well, man. But I just don't know that idea flows very well with Sony's business model, where it's let's just make the game smaller. Well, if you want to charge the same amount of money, I've went on this tangent before too, where I was maybe shrinking the game in some way may be necessary, to keep things in balance here. And, still charging maybe $70, and maybe people will be okay with that, where it's all right, well, charge us $70 for what feels like a, complete package. Fine. Maybe it's not a 25-hour long package, but it's complete nonetheless. I get what you're saying. I guess I just feel like Sony is. I just don't see a scenario where Sony's let's take the AA approach now. Because that's basically what we're kind of referring to here, where it's well, if we can't continue to increase the size and scope of what AAA is, then what? Well, then you're going back. You're moving backwards. You're reeling it in. You're shrinking it down. You're going to what the new AA standard is. And I think Sony views themselves like they are at the forefront of AAA gaming. That's what they're known for. I just don't think. I think they're more likely to try something like this out and have it crash and burn potentially than, go back to what the new standard of AA would be. They could. That is an option. I think maybe if Sean Layden was there, he talked about that. They probably would do that. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of interesting because like if you think about it, splitting Spider-Man 3 into two parts for $50 each, that kind of is what that is, isn't it? Like, because when we played Miles Morales, it's like a double A game. Like, like I guess like it's at the highest threshold of what would be considered a double A game. And people were like, yeah, it's worth $50 to me. There's perfect amount of content. Maybe that's kind of what I don't know. Maybe that's the future for Sony right there. Maybe that's a more sustainable one. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's clear that shit's getting crazy with these budgets. Apparently they are going to have multiplayer here though. That's one thing that I am seeing with this. Spider-Man 3, 2 parts, $400 million. Oh man, 400. So they're saying a $400 million budget. Yeah, you can begin to see why they're maybe considering yeah, when you look at this chart here, so they have a big X over the traditional model. Holiday 2027, 15 million units sold, $70. Net sales, 7 million to 720 million. Dev cost, 300 million. Net contribution, 160 million to 180. ROI, 50%. So based on the new model, splitting Spider-Man 3 into two parts, yeah, they can basically get an extra 30% on their ROI. I mean, business-wise, that's pretty smart. That's big. That's like an 80% ROI. But I think this can only work one way. And I think, when I look at the budget, like dev cost 300 million, and I guess 400 million with the marketing. The only way this could work is if you're going to do this, Sony, like each part has to feel worth every dollar and then some. That's the only way. If they can't, because if they leave people feeling like, man, the old way was better, then the only reason people would think that is if they feel like they're being shortchanged. So it's like, okay, you want to do a different business model that could, in the long run, potentially result in more of a return, and that's fine. I don't blame Sony for wanting to do that. But essentially what this comes down to is you want people to pay $100 for Spider-Man 2. Like when we just reduce it down to its simplest terms, it's you want to try to get people to pay $100 for Spider-Man 3, right? Well, I'll tell you right now, people are paying $70 for Spider-Man 2. The only way anybody's going to be okay for that or with that is by the time they complete Spider-Man 3, Part 1 and Part 2, they're going to have to walk away being like, wow, that was worth every fucking dollar. That was worth every penny. I don't know. We'll have to, but we also have to acknowledge, and this is important to highlight, this is like, we're talking 2027, 2028. We don't know what's going to happen to this industry between now and then. That this is quite a ways away. And this is just, again, this could just be something that they're spitballing, thinking about, just considering, companies consider different business models not totally different business models, but different ways to distribute their content all the time. I mean, here's the thing, like, the tough part is this. The tough part is going to be keeping the name. If Sony sold you Spider-Man 3 for $50, people would probably be a little bit confused as to why it's $50. But then a year later was like, and here's like, I don't know, Spider-Man fucking, something involving Miles or whatever. Almost like we look at, hold on now. Now I'm thinking Spider-Man 2018, about 25 hours to platinum, give or take, right? Maybe 30 hours on the higher end. $60, 2018. 2 years later, Miles Morales, about 15 hours, about 15 hours worth of content, $50. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Very interesting stuff, though. Like, this is what I mean. Like, we don't ever get insight into shit like this. It's so fascinating. Yeah, and it had paid DLCs as well. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Did I see the online Spider-Man concept? No, that I have not seen yet. Dude, there's so much shit I still haven't seen. Let me move to the Bluepoint games. Wait, hold on. Spider-Man: The Great Web. AAA premium multiplayer open world action adventure. Business and financial opportunity. Market opportunity. Okay, I don't think this is the Let me look at Bluepoint games. Bluepoint overview. Bluepoint location, Austin, Texas. Founded 2006. Joined Sony Interactive Entertainment October 18th, 2021. Employees 80. Current projects, original content. Okay. Their concept art. Yeah, dude, I'm looking at this concept art. It looks very fantasy-esque to a degree. Somewhat. It looks kind of like high fantasy. It almost like it's hard. I don't know, man. There's like they're in this giant. These almost look like floating islands, and there's like some kind of temple. It looks like there's a guy holding a sword, but there's like a spirit behind him holding a spear. So, guys, I think what we may have learned from this, if I had to guess, is I think we may have learned that Bluepoint Games is working on a new IP. I've been thinking this whole time that they're working on, it almost has like an Egyptian look to it. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Prince of Persia a little bit. The aesthetic that they're going for with this concept art definitely gives me that kind of Prince of Persia vibe. It looks like it'll be single player. It doesn't look like Uncharted. It doesn't look like anything. It looks brand new. You're saying we knew that already? No, to be clear, they never explicitly said it's a new IP. They said original content, and it very much insinuated that they were like going to continue something that was already established. Like I was thinking maybe Uncharted or something like that, but this seems to confirm that no, they're working, and that's exciting. Like to me, that's very exciting because it's like, isn't that what we kind of want more than anything? Like brand new IP. Armor, you're saying surprise if you read the plot. Wolverine is woke, dude. Please. Like I'll wait until I play it myself and I'll decide if it's woke or not. All right. Jesus, man. I didn't think we'd be having this conversation so soon, guys. Wokerine on the docket. Let's go. Go to the part that says internal slides, gaming industry, Sony's admitting a threat from Xbox. Yeah, we're gonna get there. I know I'm taking a long time. We're gonna get there. Dude, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to X-Men. We got Rich Rod 908. He says Sony should create a large AA studio that constantly churns out games. Maybe day one PlayStation Plus. Also, did you see that Jason Blundell is at PlayStation now? I did see that. And Jason Blundell, he is from Treyarch. He is the mastermind behind the Zombies game mode for Call of Duty. He went to go form Deviation Games. Deviation Games was partnered with Sony. Whatever they were making didn't work out. That studio seems to be finished, or having to totally reboot themselves. Jason Blundell left, and now apparently he's been picked up by PlayStation Studios. I don't know which studio he's working for. We'll have to see. But yeah, he's a very talented individual, very well respected in the industry. So it's a pretty good get for Sony, for sure. I will say though, he's responsible for the zombies mode in Call of Duty. I know a lot of people are thinking that like, well, So we must be working on something first person related. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. You're saying MBG uh don't be naive. We know Insomniac is. They have made an alternate female playable character in a Wolverine game. Well, I mean, I'm okay with that, depending on where they go with it. Like, dude, that's why I'm saying. There are limits. Like, I am not on either end here, where I'm not gonna say like this is definitively what it is. Like, I think that there are different parts to a game. It's not, again, even like something like The Last of Us Part 2, man. You guys know how passionate I felt about that game. Like, anybody who was here when The Last of Us 2 came out, you knew just how passionate I was about what the hell was going on. But even in those moments, I had to be able to evaluate the whole thing from top to bottom. And I cannot, and I just can't do it anymore, man. I cannot look at an entire product knowing that there are many different moving parts, many different aspects of it, and just summarize it with one singular word and say, well, that's what it is. Whether that be good or bad, woke or not, whatever it might be, like, I have to evaluate the whole thing. I have to, because, and I feel like it's a necessity to do that these days, because, dude, people, I don't know. I look around and it's like, if I just go based off of what people are telling me, everything is everything, apparently. And I'm just like, okay, this is getting out of hand. Either everything is great and fine and awesome, or everything is woke and terrible, or mid or garbage. And I'm like, I don't know that it's either of those things. Like, there's probably a lot more to it than that. And so it's just like, again, Spider-Man 2 is a prime example. Were there aspects of Spider-Man 2 that I did not enjoy? The answer is, objectively for me, yes. There were parts I did not enjoy. And I was kind of like raising my eyebrow, being like, well, this is kind of weird. Not really my thing here. Were there parts of Spider-Man 2 that I did enjoy? The answer is objectively yes, there was. And so it's like, look, man, I won't lie. My standard for Wolverine is going to be much higher than my standard for Spider-Man 2. And because of that, I will be more critical. Yes. And I'm not going to judge the game right now because it's just too early. I want to give Insomniac a chance. I'm going to give them the opportunity to show the game, present the game, and then when I play the game, I'll judge for myself. And if there are segments of Wolverine that I play and I'm like, wow, I didn't really like this as much as I thought, or there were certain parts of it that I feel like brought it down or drug it down, I will definitely let you know that. Just like I did with Spider-Man 2, but I don't know. I just think it's like people are too quick to just immediately judge something and say, well, this is what it is. And it's like, well, I mean, maybe that's a part of what it is, but there's probably more to it. And that's all. That's all I try to encourage anymore, is just try to, I don't know, be just a little bit open-minded to see the whole thing. And if you come to the conclusion that, no, I don't like it, I was right, that's what it is, oh, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you not to feel how you want to feel. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Your Spidey sense is tingling. Well, hey, man, that's your right to decide if you're going to pre-order a game or not. That's your right, bro. Let me see here though, because I don't want to get too far behind here. Miguel, you're saying if Sony has this budget, I don't know how Game Pass works. Well, dude, see this right here. You're exactly right. Like, dude, the budget of AAA games. Do you think that this is only affecting Sony? No, Microsoft has to contend with this problem too. And yes, Microsoft may have, for all intents and purposes, an infinite amount of money, but that doesn't mean that they just want to blow that money. The idea is they want to make money, right? And so Microsoft, it's hard to compare what they're doing with Sony at this point, especially when we gain access to this type of information, because, dude, Microsoft, they spent $68 billion on Activision. We just can't look at what Sony's doing and compare that. They're just in two different hemispheres here, right? Like Microsoft is willing to make a $68 billion investment because they believe in the next 10 to 20 years, it's going to make them, they're going to make way more, they're going to make what they spent back and then some. Sony is not operating on that scale. Sony is operating on a scale. Hey, we gotta, we got to spend $400 million on Spider-Man 3 potentially. We got to figure out how are we going to maximize how much we get out of that. From a business perspective, the mentality behind it is not different per se, but it's just the scale of it is dramatically different. And so when we talk about, I don't know, like I guess we could look at something like Hellblade 2 and wonder what was the budget of that game? What's the expected ROI on that game? Are they even expecting to make a profit? And you could kind of see, well, if Microsoft's willing to spend $68 billion for a long-term 10, 15, 20-year plan, I don't think that they're worried about, well, if we lose money on Hellblade 2, well, we're fucked. I just think Microsoft is in a different place when it comes to being able to deal with failure than Sony is. And even as I say that, Microsoft is still the biggest thing that Microsoft is pursuing is the same thing that Sony ultimately is pursuing, which is high profit business margins. That's what they're looking for. They want to have a more profitable business overall, and it's just like, look, man, see when people. Let me hold off because we got to move on to this topic. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this. Sony is concerned Microsoft's Activision Blizzard purchase will see Xbox leapfrog PlayStation. Sony has privately described Microsoft's $68 billion takeover of Activision Blizzard as a potential leapfrog moment for its long-term console rival to take the lead. Threats identified by Sony include Microsoft using Call of Duty to, quote, disrupt and threaten console gaming in game subscription markets, end quote, with a potential, quote, massive threat to PlayStation Plus, end quote. Sony has frequently expressed its concern about Microsoft's Activision Blizzard takeover in public and in private. Today brings more detail on how exactly PlayStation believes Xbox will benefit from the buyout via Sony company slides included in the Insomniac Games hack, which includes detail on how Sony itself could respond. Quote, Activision provides incredible strategic value across live service games, scale in mobile and PC storefront, Battle.net. End quote. Sony wrote describing the various advantages Microsoft has. Call of Duty remains one of the most popular gaming brands in the world with an annual... I don't know why they're saying this shit. Like, I should probably just read it from the slide itself. You know what? I'm just going to read it from the slide itself because it's actually more cohesive than reading this. Let me find it. Give me one sec. Okay. This is the slide. I'm going to read it. This is apparently coming directly from Sony. Industry major shifts and threats. Call of Duty threat in 2027. Microsoft's acquisition of Activision for $69 billion could disrupt and threaten console gaming and the game subscription market. Something we have to point out here. This was clearly written up early on. Like, I would say within the first couple months of us finding out. So basically, I say early 2022. That's important to point out because that 2027 deal, that was the first deal that Microsoft offered Sony, and I think they offered that in the first couple months, and they rejected that deal, obviously. And now we know it's a 10-year deal, so we have to keep it within that context. Console shift from PlayStation to Xbox with timing and in-game differential as the weapons. So that sounds to me pretty much like what Sony presented in court. I mean, do you guys remember when Sony was when Jim Ryan and Sony, they were like, well, Microsoft could offer exclusive advantages, and everybody was like, you mean like what you do, Sony? And they were like, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying here. Sony really believes that Call of Duty, if Microsoft could offer some kind of bonuses or exclusive bonuses like they have, they really believe it will affect console sales. And you can't blame Sony for thinking this because it has worked for them. That's why Sony thinks this way, because they're like, well, that's what we've been doing, and fuck, it's been working for us. So if they can do it, it's going to work for them. So you can kind of understand the logic behind that. They say here, subscription, Microsoft's comprehensive ecosystem coupled with exclusivity creates greater dominance. So yeah, I mean, this is what's kind of strange to me. It's like Sony's using the word dominance. Like, what? Like, dude, what do you? I just don't understand. I guess Sony views it as Microsoft's ecosystem is dominant. I mean, I guess that's news to me. Maybe that is how they really feel. Sony impact. Oh, you know what? Hold on. My bad. They're talking just about subscription. So yeah, okay. That's fascinating. Sony views Game Pass as dominant in the subscription space. Sony's impact. Massive threat to PlayStation Plus. Upwards of $1.5 billion of annual revenue threat. Gap to fill. 45 million subs times $12 monthly times 12 months times 20% multiplayer third party. Day and date threat. Post acquisition. Okay, so really quick. Something that people are pointing out about this document, saying that this seems like it could be fake. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying this is what people are pointing out. Is that supposedly whoever wrote this document up internally at Sony, when they wrote post-acquisition, they abbreviated acquisition just ACQ, and it has like a red squiggly under it, letting us know it's a typo, and it definitely looks super unprofessional. But you know, I guess it's certainly feasible that this is how they could have just put it out there, but people have pointed that out. Again, I'm not saying it's not real. I think this is real, but yeah. So post-acquisition, Microsoft will put Activision games on Game Pass day and date. Leapfrog. This is a fucking bullet point that Sony apparently wrote. Leapfrog. Activision provides incredible strategic value across live service games, scale in mobile, and PC storefront. Microsoft can supply multi-game subscription, 50% console games, 50% PC. No, multi-game subscription for 50%, console games 50%, and PC 60%. Sony's pillars. Dude, this is Sony talking about themselves, supposedly. Sony's pillars are already dated and behind the competition. Sony impact need to expand. Like, dude, this shit is amazing if true, man. Like, if this is real, then we have our confirmation that Sony doesn't believe in their own model anymore. They don't believe that their own model is where. Well, let me back up. I don't want to look. I don't want to over exaggerate, because let's be real right now. Is this news? It's not. It's literally not. Like, this is shit that Sony has been saying directly to us and directly to their shareholders for literal years now. But what's just surprising about it is just to see it presented in this manner, where Sony's just like, yeah, you know, our pillars are already dated and behind the competition. Like, they so I guess the question is, what are the pillars? Right? Like, they don't disclose here what the pillars are. I guess we could assume the pillars are console, maybe subscription, mobile, PC. Are those the four pillars? Or live service isn't, yeah, another pillar. So Sony would be behind in live service, subscription, which is so fucking weird. Like, see, what's so weird about this to me? Listen to me. I can't wrap my head around this. What's so weird to me about this is this reads like Sony. Keep in mind, apparently this was early 2022, based off of the Call of Duty threat in 2027. This reads like Sony is basically like, oh yeah, Game Pass is gonna explode. Like, it's like Microsoft is correct. They are validating Microsoft's approach here. That's the big thing about this. And what's so weird to me is they talk about being behind in subscription, but it's like you have at least at the time of this write up, almost 50 million subscribers. And Game Pass at this time was probably sitting around 20, 25 million. This is what doesn't make any sense to me and what makes me question the authenticity of this, because it's like, who wrote this up? Again, maybe somebody inside of Sony didn't even fucking know. But it's like, why would Sony be saying that they're behind in a core pillar when they're actually ahead? Why would Sony be sitting there saying we're worried about, is it, you know what? Maybe is it just because they're talking about the acquisition itself? Is it because maybe subscription isn't a core pillar? Maybe the core pillar is live service, and they see that Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard. By buying Activision Blizzard, they get live service, they get mobile, and all of these different pillars. Like, now Microsoft is ahead. That would make sense. But what's just strange to me about this is there seems to be some kind of, I don't know, there's an intense focus on the Game Pass model here. And Sony has stated numerous times, like, they do not see Game Pass as a threat. But this here seems to paint Game Pass as some kind of big threat and major shift. But let me continue on here. So Sony's impact, Sony needs to expand. That to me is kind of, yeah, I mean, again, this is what Sony's been telling us this entire time. We need to do more in mobile. They've been expanding the PC. They're still trying with live service. So the thing that makes this believable is that none of this is new. Like, we've known this for, again, years. The only thing that makes it strange is that, again, it kind of frames it like Sony is genuinely very frightened of Microsoft, and they very well could be, for all we know. But it just doesn't, I don't know. That's not, I guess Sony has not really been making that part of it clear, which I guess you could understand why. Maybe this is what was presented at the court or during the court trial. Maybe. Not frightened, just cautious. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We've been saying this since day one. Sony absolutely needs to be cautious of a competitor who's buying Activision Blizzard. Yeah, you can't just throw that out and be. That's the thing, is a lot of people, I think, are looking at this as like, oh man, this is like. See, I was under the impression when I first came across this that this was like literally a made up slide by Xbox fanboys, because it kind of almost reads like that, like leapfrog. Like, do they have leapfrog as a fucking bullet point? And I'm like, okay, I guess that's a term Sony, executives could use. I guess it's an applicable term, but it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just kind of funny because I've been hearing Xbox fanboys use that term the past couple weeks. But I guess it is applicable to a certain extent. And I was under the impression that that's what this was. This was just written up by made up by people. And where my confusion stemmed from was, again, there was a picture going around from a Discord server. Supposedly, the picture of this Discord server, this is where the original leak happened and where the info was originally distributed. And the owner, again, based off of an assumption or presumption, based off of what they're showing me, the owner was saying, like, yeah, no, this is a good fake, but it's fake. And I saw a lot of people going around saying this is fake. But then I kind of realized, there's no like real proof that it is fake. There's a lot of assuming it's fake. And the thing that confused me the most about this is all this stuff we're reading right here, I don't fucking know what this has to do with Insomniac. Like, that's the part that confuses me, is this is like shit that would be coming from like maybe Sony HQ and like the higher ups that have to run the business, not a studio. And that's to me, that's kind of what made me think, well, this is kind of strange. Like, this just felt kind of like hamstrung in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like Venom, Spider-Man, Wolverine, roadmap. Oh, and some Activision Blizzard shit. And I'm like, what? Like, wait, what? Where's this why is this Activision Blizzard shit just randomly sprinkled in the middle of all this shit? But I don't know. Maybe it's just something that was sent out to all the studios at Sony, potentially. MBG, the same guy, already said it's real. He didn't see it. Oh, okay. All right. Well, there we go. Well, there you go. There you go. But you gotta admit though, it's kind of funny, right? Like, hey guys, we got fucking Spider-Man leaking, Venom leaking, Wolverine gameplay. Oh, and by the way, this is how Sony feels about the Activision Blizzard deal. Anyway, we got a fucking X-Men game coming. It's like, whoa, what the fuck? Hold on. And then just like out of nowhere, oh, by the way, here's Bluepoint. Like this shit is I'll be honest, man, this leak is fucking wild because it's just all over the place, man. There's just shit everywhere. Shit is flying everywhere. I got one last section here. It says elusive perfect game subscription. Now, this to me, see, when I read this part, this is where I'm like, okay, I think this might be real. Premium content, expectation of free, best-in-class games creates unsustainable model. Monthly and incremental subs will not cover investment. Unified mobile, PC, console experience does not exist. Form factor and computer power are too diverse. Sony Impact, premium sales model is the central approach. See, that I will say, if there's anything with this write-up that made me kind of realize, and I should delete that. I keep saying I'm going to delete that post, and I forget to. If there's anything that makes me realize that this is, I think, real, or I mean, I guess it has been confirmed at this point, but what made me, in the middle of it, kind of turn around and be like, maybe this is real, is this is Sony at the bottom here saying, even though Microsoft is doing all these things and there's the potential that they could leapfrog us and they can do that and they can do this. They then point out here that like none of what they're doing is sustainable. At least for us. Like it's just not sustainable. It's like not a possibility. And Sony Impact premium sales model is the central approach. So in conclusion, we're staying the course. So yeah, I don't know. I guess in the end, this is just a whole lot of nothing, frankly. I mean, I guess like fanboys are going to run with it either way. You know, I guess like some Xbox fans are going to be like, see, we told you Sony's scared. They're shaking. And I guess PlayStation fans or fanboys are going to be like, Sony doesn't give a shit. Sony's the best. It's like, well, again, I think it's in the middle. If there's one thing that this seems to illustrate to me is that Sony is in the exact position that I thought they were in this whole time, which again was not. It brings me relief. I mean, granted, again, this is early 2022, so it could have changed. Their fucking CEO is gone. I just want that to be known as well. Like the biggest thing about going over all these leaks is that we have no idea what has changed or what will change. One thing we do know that did change from the time of this write-up, I guess, and now is Jim Ryan's not there, or he's going to be gone in March, and they need to find a new CEO. But I've said for quite some time that like I don't know that Sony should try to chase Microsoft because I don't think they're going to be able to do it the way that Microsoft has done it. It's just I really think it's just not going to be sustainable for them. Like they can't go out there chasing publishers. They can't just, continue to pump $300+ million into these projects and then just drop it into their subscription service and just pray that they make enough money that it works out. It would eventually make it all too unsustainable. And I'm not saying that the direction Sony's going in is the image of perfect stability. It's not, but it's like, it's what Sony is trying to figure out right now. It's pretty simple. Sony has a model that works for them, that brings in so much fucking money, dude. Like, we get so much money from the PlayStation brand, from the PlayStation Store, from all the games, from our own games. You get all the revenue is just through the roof. But the problem is Sony is left with so little of that revenue as profit, and that is their number one focus. And this is why you see slides where it's like, okay, maybe what if we can split Spider-Man 3 into 2 games? Back to back, 2027, 2028. What's the purpose of doing that? Well, from a business perspective, 30% ROI increase. From 50% to 80%, right? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess from a business perspective, like that sounds great. But the question then becomes like, how are you going to do that without coming off as just greedy fucks? Well, that's the challenge, is it not? It's in a way, it's like the opposite of the challenge that Microsoft is facing right now, or the challenge Microsoft is facing is they are out here focused on, don't worry about it, we'll cover the cost. We're going to give you a great deal. And that's good. Like that's going to attract customers. That's going to make people feel good about them. But but at the end of the day, the reality is Microsoft's intent is to also make money. And they can maybe not have to worry about an unsustainable model right now because they just have the sheer brute force, financially speaking, to make that sustainable and keep that sustainable for as long as they need to. But again, the ultimate play here is eventually we'll make money. I don't know how Sony combats that. I don't know how Sony combats that. I really don't. Michael Werneth says, do you know who else makes stacks? MBG. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I'm making those stacks, bro. Let me tell you. I'm making those stacks, bro. And holy shit, dude, Michael Werneth, bro. I was like, is he about to do what I think he's about to do? Why is Michael Werneth out here being like, bro, MBG's making them stacks? Michael Werneth, you know what time it is. He drops a 50 bomb. Where's my MGS 50 bomb? Here we go. And it didn't play, did it? Hold on, let me try one more time. Wait, I gotta start it over. 50 members, bro. Michael just dropped a 50 bomb on this community. I need to see W's flowing in the chat. He did it. He got us from 50 members to 100 members just like that. Dude, Michael, seriously, bro, that is incredible. Dude, Michael, I love the way you preface that too. You know who else makes stacks? MBG drops a 50 bomb. Amazing, dude. That support is incredible, though. Seriously, man. The generosity of this community never ceases to blow my mind. The gifts are still distributing, man. He did it. He fucking did it. I gotta update the goal, man. I can't believe it. A 50 bomb. YouTube crash incoming. I hope not, bro. I always love the ending of this. It's coming. Does it go on for too long? I don't know. Man, I gotta bring up my weights. I have to. When I'm playing that shit, I gotta get up and start doing some curls. Next time I'm gonna do that. I'm serious. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bring up my dumbbells, and the next time somebody drops a 50 bomb, I'm gonna do some fucking curls while we listen to some Metal Gear. That's what's gonna go down. Cause that shit gets me too hyped. And I just gotta like sit here. But yeah, man, Michael Werneth just dropped a 50 bomb and brings us up to 100 members on the day. I'm flabbergasted, man. Let me update this goal. And yeah, thank you so much for all the support you guys show. Oops, hold on. There we go. Good shit, man. Good shit. 100 members on the day. That notification is going to be going off for a little while. So bear with me there. But, oh, dude, that is sad, man. MBG made more today than Sunset Overdrive did. Why is that? That genuinely makes me kind of sad. Like, what? Something's really wrong with that logic right there. That's crazy. But yeah, good shit, man. So I guess I'll just use this opportunity to let everybody know. I don't know how many people in the chat right now were just gifted a membership, but if you were, you have a free membership for a month. It's non-recurring. You just get to enjoy the perks and the benefits. And one of the benefits you now have unlocked is the Members Lounge. Okay, I have plenty of Members Lounge episodes. You can go check them out, and there'll be plenty more coming down the line. So There you go, man. Thanks to Michael, as well as Corey and Exley and Hellbound and everybody else. Oh, yeah, Clip Badger from Breaking Bad shouting fat stacks, y'all. Amazing stuff. That's the Xbox stacks right there. Sorry, I got, dude, Michael just totally derailed me there in the best possible way. Ice Rezo, you're saying MBG in the court appeal, the lawyer for Microsoft admitted to their judge that Microsoft subscriptions are more than triple Sony's subscriptions. Yeah, but that has to, Ice, though, that has to be counting, like, that can't just be Game Pass, can it? Because if that was true, dude, Microsoft would be bragging about their Game Pass numbers. Or at the very least announcing them. Maybe not bragging about them, but announcing them. And I don't know. Then they did that Game Pass core thing. So I don't know, man. I want to know. That's the thing. We still don't know. There is one other thing I want to bring up here, though, that maybe we do know. Maybe we know a little bit more than meets the eye here. Michael Werneth with another $2 super chat says, I apologize. Please continue. No, dude, no need to apologize. I get it, man. When a 50 bomb drops, it's going to derail the conversation, but it's all good, man, because that is some insane support. It is. So it deserves, in my opinion, all the praise it gets, and all the thanks it gets. So thank you, Michael. But there is something I do want to add to this conversation. So I want to point this out to you guys. All right. And it's really interesting to be reading about how Sony may view Microsoft and the potential threat that Microsoft and their business model poses to PlayStation and their business model and their goals and their ambitions. When we look at the roadmap that just leaked from Insomniac, something I think becomes crystal clear. And that is Sony is not straying away from the premium AAA single player game. And that is you're talking about a roadmap that we're seeing all the way up until, again, like 2031 or 2030, which is well into the PlayStation 6 generation at that point. And this is extremely reassuring because people have always had this kind of trepidation with Sony aggressively pursuing live service, thinking, well, is it going to come at the expense of their single player games? And Jim Ryan, as well as Herman Holst, they've reiterated multiple times, like, no, it's not. Like the single player output is not going to stop. And it's funny because when you look at Insomniac Games' roadmap, they have a single player roadmap and then they have a multiplayer ambition roadmap, and they just they bounce off of one another. Now, I think maybe where Sony is going, I think they are discovering right now just how challenging this really is they're discovering with Naughty Dog that, like, oh man, well, it seems like one might actually have to come at the expense of the other in some cases. Maybe not every studio is equipped to be able to balance making high quality AAA single player games and also running a kind of significant multiplayer game that's meant to be live service. And I don't know if this is the big wrench that is being thrown into Sony's plans here, where even, Microsoft now does have these major pillars where it's like, Microsoft has had games as a service, but now they've pretty much like tripled that, right? I mean, we have Call of Duty, they bought Minecraft way back, like 10 years ago. They bought Minecraft, they bought Bethesda, they have all these live service Bethesda games. They have Blizzard, they have all of Blizzard's live service games. And so, like, by making these purchases, they really beefed up, really beefed up, like their live service pillar and their mobile pillar. And these are the two pillars that Sony has to be referring to when they say that, like, we are outdated and behind. Because let's face it, when I hear, sometimes I kind of listen too much to the online rhetoric and frankly bullshit that people put out there where, there are people saying, well, when Sony says their model's outdated, they mean their AAA single player games and they need to get with it and embrace sub services and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I think what they really mean is like, yeah, we don't fucking have multiplayer games. We don't have any live service games outside of MLB, which is good, and GT7. And GT7, like, there's years. There's like generational gaps between GT releases. So outside of those two games, Sony PlayStation doesn't really have anything, of consequence. Meanwhile, Microsoft is out here just scooping up. They have Destiny now, which I guess is consequential, but it just kind of shows like, man, talk about bad luck. We did it. We made a big purchase of our own. We got Bungie. We have Destiny. Oh, what's that? Like just 2 years later, Destiny's slowly dying? Wait, Bungie's eroding. Wait, hold on now. We spent over $3.6 billion on this. Don't tell me that. That's Sony's reality right now. And we're now hearing that, like, Naughty Dog, they had to make a choice, supposedly, right? Like, we either release this game and go full live service, or we axe it and continue on our single player roadmap here. I heard a rumor, or I don't know if it was a rumor. I forget where I heard this, but I heard somewhere along the grapevine that Naughty Dog's single player game has been in development for 3+ years, apparently. And I think the reason this people came to this conclusion is because Naughty Dog was sure to let us know that The Last of Us multiplayer was in pre-production for the past 3 years. So if that was in pre-production, that implies that something else was in full production this entire time. Now, it could be that I don't know. It's hard to imagine that The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 remastered, that those two projects were what was in full production, because it's like, well, how much production does that really require? Not entirely sure. But I guess the bigger point I'm trying to make here is that there is truth to this. And I get it. Like, I understand, believe me, I understand that when you look at stuff like this, you just think, well, isn't this like what kind of like Xbox fanboys have to say about PlayStation and shit? It's like, well, there is, believe it or not, a glimmer of truth to some of the bullshit they say. It's not really exactly what they're saying, it's how they're saying it. Right? Like, Microsoft and their strategy is a direct threat to PlayStation's long-term strategy and viability, of sticking to the traditional model. It is a direct threat. And that is pretty much what Sony's saying here. Now, what a fanboy might say is, oh no, it's not just a threat, like, it's going to kill it. Microsoft already won. You just don't know it yet. They'll talk about it in that sense. And I think that's when people get kind of defensive and they're like pushing back and they're like, no, you're fucking wrong. But it's like, even Sony is here acknowledging that, no, this is a threat and there are pillars that are dated and behind. The big question at this point in time, you look at this Insomniac leak, you look at this information, you look at everything that has presented itself, you look at what happened with Naughty Dog, you look at the fact that Jim Ryan's leaving in March, you look at what's happening with Bungie, you see Insomniac's roadmap, we know what Microsoft is doing. We know Microsoft has big plans for next year with Activision. You look at the live service push, you just consider all of these different factors, and the question has to be asked, like, what has changed or what is about to change? Because something is changing. This roadmap we're seeing, I have no doubt in my mind, has been altered already or is going to be altered to some extent. This roadmap was made under Jim Ryan's leadership, under presumably Connie Booth's production leadership. Both individuals are not going to, they're gone. I keep saying Jim's gone. Jim's retiring in March, but come on, let's face it. He's probably not really doing much when it comes to the game development side of things at this point. He's just probably, trying to help position Sony in the best way they can to just be ready to do whatever it is the next CEO wants to do. Yeah, I feel like Jim is his. I know he signed that big deal with NCSoft, so I'm not saying he's not doing anything. It's just I just get the feeling that he's not necessarily part of the longer term strategy plan now, because why would he be? He's literally retiring. It's like, yeah, I'm out. There you go. That was my plan. You guys do what you want with it. Figuratively literal. Sorry, man. You're saying here, excited for the fantasy Bluepoint game, but weren't they working on 2 projects? Also, a solid lineup despite too many Marvel games, and it may get shuffled. Yeah, I'm thinking things are going to get shuffled around if they haven't already. But I want to make it clear that the Bluepoint games leak, the whole idea of 2 games being in development, that was a rumor. Just to be clear, like, that was never confirmed by Sony or Bluepoint. That was just a rumor that I think a lot of people believed. And it seems that that's not true. It seems like they're just working on 1 new IP. I'm so curious to see how this new IP, because I mean, Bluepoint is only known for remakes, man. This is going to be fascinating, because with this new IP they make, it's either going to be awesome and like, holy shit, I didn't know they had it in them, or it's going to flop and be like, guys, you should just stick to remakes. I hope it's a success. Obviously I'm rooting for them. I want to see Bluepoint reach a new level. We're getting a fantasy game from Bluepoint. Based off of the leaked concept art, it seems like it's going to be some type of fantasy game. Like, again, it kind of has a Prince of Persia look to it. That's the best way I could describe it, aesthetically speaking. Not exactly Prince of Persia, but if you think of Prince of Persia, you get a general aesthetic in your mind. That's kind of what we are seeing with the leaked Bluepoint project here. Are the leaks all over on the subreddit? Yeah, dude, they're everywhere. They're all over the subreddit. I'm actually checking now to see if there's anything new that came out. More images from the canceled multiplayer title Spider-Man: The Great Web. I'll check that in just a second. I have Antonio Lopes. He says, Sony said, quote, "We need to expand. Console isn't enough." Well, yeah, man. I mean, again, this is... See, here's the question. When Sony says we need to expand, how do we interpret that? Do we because you're interpreting it as like the console isn't enough. And I agree with that to an extent. I think it's obvious that if you want to expand, it means you want to go beyond the console. But the question again is like, does that mean you're going to chase Microsoft? Well, I don't know. I think Sony's in an awkward position because I think they have to chase Microsoft because Microsoft is chasing the same things that Sony wants. Oh, hey, Microsoft they now have a successful mobile presence. Well, we want that. We've been wanting that. Well, they just bought it. Well, shit, I guess we should. Well, okay. Well, Sony, what are you going to do now? That's the thing. It's like, I think Sony is, I don't know, man. I hate to admit this because I really want it to. I don't want to say that I wanted to see more leak because, again, I feel shitty about this leak overall because of the way it's impacting the developers. It's just fucked up. I wish we could get more of the upper Sony stuff in terms of like, their plans and their strategies and what they're going to do. Because it's like we can only infer and gather so much based off of this Insomniac roadmap. We can only gather so much from one studio, and that's just how it is, man. Like, there's still so many question marks when it comes to, all right, well, Sony, are you staying the course with live service? What are you doing with mobile? Like, Sony bought a AAA mobile studio, and they They hired people, they left, the studio founders left, they rebranded the studio. It's like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Like, while Sony's doing that, Microsoft just bought King, you know? And so it's like, well, Sony, if you want to have a successful mobile presence, like, I, I don't, I don't know if the way you're doing it right now is working out, or it could just be they maybe they just need more time. Maybe they are gonna succeed. It's just a matter of like, well, we can't rush it. It definitely could be that. Um, yeah, that's the tough thing. It seems like they are starting from scratch, and because of that, I think that there's the thing about Sony starting from scratch is there's immense risk involved, and like kind of what we saw with The Last of Us multiplayer cancellation, like that's the risk. That's the risk. Like the whole thing could just collapse, and it could just be one giant waste of time. Same thing with Bungie. I mean, it's kind of crazy because you almost got to wonder, like, man, is Sony just experiencing horrendous luck right now, where they are making all the wrong bets, where not all the wrong, but at least in the areas where it's like we have to expand, and every time they go to expand, it's like you made the wrong bet, man. Oh, we bought this mobile studio, and so far it's produced 0 results. Okay, we bought Bungie. 0 results so far. You know, just actually a hemorrhaging of money, it seems. Okay. We had one of our own studios build it from the ground up. Last of Us multiplayer, 0 results. The only results that Sony has produced, and they're not bad, it's what we've known. Like the results that Sony has produced this generation so far are sticking to what they know and what has worked for them. And that is more AAA single player games, sequels, you know, and I'm assuming we know they have new IP in development. We just haven't seen it yet. And it's like, it just seems like anytime Sony tries to step away from that, they're they're stepping on the rake. And that's where I just don't know. If you're Sony, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like if you're Sony, after after you buy Bungie and you see what's happening, after you see what happened with The Last of Us multiplayer, after you see all of this happen the way it is or did happen, like, do you just say, well, just keep pushing forward, something will work out, or do you reevaluate your entire approach? This is the answer I feel like we still lack, even with this massive leak. But the one thing, again, it does give me confidence in is there's still that roadmap of single player games, man. Like that's not, I knew Sony wouldn't get away from that because it would be so stupid. You know, like I always knew that no matter what Sony tries to pursue, they're not going to stop making big single player games because it is their backbone, man. Like it is their identity. It is their foundation. That is a core pillar that it's their strongest one. You know, it's the one that they're known for, I'd say, or have been known for, especially for the past decade. So they can't get away from that. But yeah, it really does seem like Sony is in this kind of position where they are discovering that relying on that singular pillar alone is not enough, and they need to find a way to expand. And apparently their PC sales leaked out as well, which I want to talk about. Antonio Lopes, thank you. I was going to read that again, but I just realized I just read that. So thank you guys for the super chats. Let me see here. What is this? More images from the canceled multiplayer Spider-Man game, The Great Web. Oh, wow. Okay. This is a lot. Holy shit. You know what? I think this was a Spider-Verse game. Possibly. There's a lot of concept art here. And it almost looks like a Spider-Verse game. So now I know what you guys were talking about. People were telling me earlier that no, like this multiplayer game was canceled. So holy shit, dude, that's 2 major multiplayer games that have been canceled. Yo. Yeah, it's like GTA Online Spider-Man. What is, dude? Okay, I didn't know about that. I didn't realize that that was the title of the game, The Great Web. What is happening at Sony? Like, and I don't mean that like necessarily in like, oh, it's disaster, but it's like, what changed, man? Like, they were all fucking in making their own multiplayer games, and they were just like, hold up, cancel it. Like, what happened? Were they just bad? Did they realize that did they get cold feet? Did they think, you know what, maybe this is actually way too risky? Did they see what was happening with Bungie and they're like, fuck this, never mind? We can't, I don't, this is crazy, man. See, what's so crazy about this is they have to. So, The Last of Us multiplayer canceled. The Spider-Man live service game canceled. Really quick. Yeah, so that's two AAA first-party live service games canceled. Wow. I don't know, man. What the fuck does it mean? Yeah, is their Horizon game canceled now too? What does this mean? If Sony has given up on their live service push, that means that they have a different, something has to take its place. What would that be? Is it going to be acquisitions? Did they just say, fuck it? We got to follow Microsoft? Is that a possibility? They just said, we can't do this shit ourselves. We just can't. Like, we're going to erode our own studios. I mean, I guess you could maybe see the partnership with NCSoft as their plan going forward. Maybe just partnerships. I mean, think about this. Think about this for a moment. What if instead of buying Bungie, Sony just partnered with Bungie? You know? That could have worked, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to make it sound like Sony's back is against the wall and like they don't have any options. That's definitely not the case. They have options. They do. It's just like, man, I am just shocked that, I don't know. It all happened so fast, man. You know, one day Jim Ryan's out here being like, live service is the future, boys. Come on. Jim Ryan tasking every PlayStation studio. You're going to do a live service. You're going to do a live service. You're going to do a live service. Coming out here talking to investors. Let me tell you about this live service future. It's basically a subscription within a subscription. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. And then just like that, it's like, I think I'm going to retire now. and then meanwhile, games are getting fucking canceled. It's like, okay, I don't know, man. What went wrong? What went wrong? That's crazy. I did not know about that. I don't know. Maybe things just got pushed. Maybe instead of a live service Spider-Man game, they thought maybe we should just focus on a multiplayer X-Men game. I don't know. There was one other thing I wanted to check out here in the Insomniac Leaks compilation. They have a Guerrilla overview. Guerrilla Games overview, founded 2003, employees 393. Current projects, Hunter's Gathering. So I guess the name of this multiplayer game is Hunter's Gathering? Wow, holy shit. People are getting, this is crazy. It's not a leak. It's criminal theft you are benefiting from and being complicit in by covering it. I pray your outlet never gets another early review copy ever again from any game studio. What? That's coming from senior character artist at Naughty Dog. What outlet are they talking? Are they talking about like Eurogamer and IGN and shit? Fuck. Yikes. You're saying they shouldn't be covering it? Yeah, I get that. Like it's because that's the whole thing, right? Like I think at times like this, it reveals the difference between being on the in or being on the out. Ghost of Tsushima's budget leaked 60 million. What? No, 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 no. That's no way, Irfan. That cannot be real. Only 60 million? Don't. That's wild. That's crazy. That is unbelievably impressive. They fucking murdered with that budget, dude. They made it work so well with such a small, like a comparably small budget. See, this is why I'm so fucking excited for Ghost 2, man. Because Ghost of Tsushima sold like over 10 million copies. And like, dude, they will be able to Sony's like, yeah, we'll triple your budget now, bro. Yeah, we'll do it. Ooh, I'm so excited. Now that's good news. That's good news to me. That is very impressive. That's very, very impressive. I would have never guessed. Dude, I would have thought Ghost of Tsushima minimum 150 mil. If anything, dude, proof, man, that talent. That's what talent can do. They can do more with less. Good shit, dude. I love that. Yeah, I can't. You know what's crazy is I gotta see where the 60 mil is coming from because that I won't lie to you. Like I'm having a difficult time believing that. That is crazy. Let me see. Ghost of Tsushima budget. So this came out. Yeah. Let me see. Ghost of Tsushima had a tiny budget compared to other AAA titles. There are many gaming topics right now that are causing serious discussions within the game developer rooms and those who play games. One of the biggest ones by far is the question of how much it takes to develop AAA titles. Once upon a time, you could make a video game with 100 or 200 people and have them out in stores in a few months. But nowadays, they sometimes take hundreds of people and hundreds of $1 million to create. It's a lot to process. But in the case of Ghost of Tsushima, that game broke the mold in more than one way. First off, it was made by Sucker Punch, who had a good track record up to that point, but hadn't done anything as grand as the title before. That led the game to being in development for 6 years, which isn't always a guarantee of success. But what's rocking many people's worlds is the revelation that despite the long development period and how much was in the game, Ghost of Tsushima only cost $60 million to make. Some of you might be thinking, but isn't that still a ton of money? Yes, but it's a lot of that is a lot of money by your count and hours. We wouldn't know what to do with 60 million if they gave it to us, but in the context of video games, that is well below what a title costs in the AAA market to make. So the source here is, where is the source? Who is this? Senior financial analyst at Sucker Punch, working with Sony proprietary Hyperionian S-Base budgeting and reporting system, providing 4-year, $60 million budget analysis and management. Created world and P&L analysis for Sucker Punch. Wow. Dude, that is mind-blowing. I'll tell you what, Sucker Punch has got to start going around PlayStation Studios and start telling them how to get shit done. Cause that is almost unbelievable, man. I don't mean to make it sound like more than it is, but like you would think at least 100 million. At least 100 million. And it's like, no, dude, 40 million below that. Sucker Punch is out here making other Sony, I mean, if I were Sony, I'd probably be looking at Sucker Punch and be like, and then look at all the other studios and be like, what are you guys doing over there? like, why do you need literally like $200 million more than these guys? That's crazy. Although Sucker Punch is probably like, yo, can we get more money now? Sony, give them more money. They earned it. Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, you're right. They're not going to get like a. Yeah, Sony's like, yo, if you can give your studio 60 mil and they can do this, what can the same studio do with 150 mil? It's an exciting prospect. So that's legitimate. Yeah, wow, that's man, all this shit is coming out. Sorry guys, give me just a moment here. I'm scanning now to see if there's anything else. There's a sales numbers for a ton of Sony games, including both PS4 and PS5 games, just like, oh my lord. What the fuck, dude? Okay, there's no way. There's no way this is isolated to Insomniac. This just came out 17 minutes ago. Holy shit. So it's up to 2021. So we don't have data for 2022 or this year. Damn, dude, this is I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Sony now. Like, more shit's coming out. Like, well, I guess I'll go over this with you guys. I mean, it's very interesting nonetheless. All the numbers below are sold through, so the numbers that we're about to cover are actually games going into the hands of customers, not stores or anything like that. Let's start. I'm going to work backwards, okay? So we'll start with PS4 games, go to PS5. Until Dawn, 3.9 million units sold. Death Stranding, 4.1 million sold. So it's actually, wow. So Death Stranding was actually quite a success. Drive Club, 4.7 million sold. Infamous Second Son, 5 million sold. Uncharted The Lost Legacy, 5.2 million sold. Little Big Planet 3, 5.3 million sold. Detroit Become Human, 5.4 million sold. God of War 3 Remastered, 5.5 million sold. Ratchet and Clank, 6.9 million sold. Days Gone. You guys ready for this? Days Gone, 7.3 million sold. Bloodborne. You guys, what? What? Dude, what? Bloodborne, 7.4 million sold. What? Holy fuck, dude. I thought Bloodborne sold like 2 million at most. You're saying that's it? Dude, I'm telling you, everybody probably thought it sold 2-3 million at most. Because keep in mind, Bloodborne came out back in 2015, man. Like, well before games like Elden Ring and Sekiro. That's crazy. Sony, what are you doing? That's a gold mine, bro, that Sony's sitting on. Yeah, okay. To be clear, it probably was over time. Yes. And you know what? Before I get too ahead of myself, I guess we have to consider, and like, does this count if it was ever given away on PlayStation Plus? No. I mean, it says here sold through to customers. So I guess at the very least, you have to imagine at least 1 million or so, or maybe 2 million. I don't know. It's impossible to know, but at least a chunk of these games, right? Like, seeing Bloodborne sit at over 7 million, at least a chunk of it had to come at like a deep discount, like people buying it for 10 or 20 bucks. But that's still crazy, dude. Like that is, I would have never guessed. So Days Gone, 7.3 million. Bloodborne, 7.4 million. Uncharted Collection. You ready? We'll continue on here. Uncharted Collection, 9.6 million. Gran Turismo Sport, 12.7 million. The Last of Us Remastered, 18.2 million. Fuck. Uncharted 4, Thief's End, 18.6 million. Horizon Zero Dawn, 19.2 million. God of War, 2018, 20.8 million. And then at the top, Spider-Man 2018, 22.1 million. So that's for PS4. That's pre-fiscal year 2020. So these numbers are still kind of outdated, just to be clear. They probably went on to sell more by this point. Now let's go to fiscal year 2020 games. Spider-Man Miles Morales. Well, hold on. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. Predator Hunting Grounds. Totally forgot about that game. 778,000 units. Sackboy: A Big Adventure. 1.2 million sold. Demon's Souls Remake. 1.8 million sold. Not half bad. Ghost of Tsushima. 7.4 million. Although, again, this is fiscal year 2020, so I think it was confirmed a while ago that it hit 10 million. The Last of Us Part 2, 9.6 million. And then Miles Morales, 10.1 million. So yeah, that's the only thing that's kind of going to drive me a little nuts here is we're getting this information, but it's like, it is still outdated by this point. And then the last one, fiscal year 2021 games, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, 2.3 million. MLB The Show 21, 1.6 million. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, 1.4 million. Returnal, 800. Wow. Returnal seemingly didn't do that great. 866,000 units. So Returnal struggled to hit a million, or it didn't hit a million. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, 329,000. Death Stranding Director's Cut, 210,000. And that's it. That's where it ends. God damn, what is happening over there at Sony, like with these leaks, dude? You're saying these numbers are pretty weak? The new Pokemon sold 10 million. Yeah, but you can't compare anything Sony's doing to Pokemon, bro. You can't compare anything to Pokemon, period. I'll be real. Sony wants those numbers up, no doubt. And they probably can do better than this if they really... I think as they go further along and with sequels and stuff. There's over 1 terabyte of data. I didn't know it was over a terabyte. I thought it was like a gigabyte or some shit. Like 2 gigabytes or something. I didn't realize it was that much. I guess it makes sense. Modern Warfare 3 sold 20 million in 15 days. But again, dude, it's like, it's Call of Duty. Like, I'm just, like, it's obvious that Sony doesn't have a property that's going to sell, like, the same as Call of Duty or Pokemon. They just don't. Sony wants that, absolutely, and they're trying to build towards that, but, you know. I can't, dude, I'm shocked about Bloodborne, man. Put some respect on Nintendo. Well, yeah, no, Nintendo, they clean house, man. Jesus. By the way, guys, we still have over 650 people here hanging out. Do me a big favor, okay? Hit that like button. I need you guys to let me know you enjoy the content and you enjoy the streams. That's the best way for you to do that. We're about to hit 400 likes. I think we could easily, come on, guys, we could easily crush 450 likes. Let me peruse a little bit more. I see it. So I wanted to have this conversation really quick, though, because I'm seeing it more so on Twitter now where people are like saying, like, stop reporting on leaks. Stop talking about them. All right. We need to get a couple things straight here. All right. We need to get a couple fucking things straight here. Number one, there is the inner circle, and there's the outer circle in the gaming industry. You guys know this. I know this. Everybody knows this. There are those that are on the inner circle. Those people on the inner circle should not be reporting on leaks. for one reason and one reason only. It's not even an ethical thing. I mean, I guess from an ethical standpoint, sure. But it's like if you want to stay on the inner circle, you got to fall in line. There are rules to staying in the inner circle. Now, if you are on the outer circle, you're free to do whatever the fuck you want. You know, you're not beholden to, oh, well, I have to follow, you know, the ethical guidelines. Like, no. All right. It's a fucking leak. Leaks happen. To me, where the ethical line is drawn for everybody is when, again, people's personal info is out there. Don't touch that. Do not fucking touch that. That is crossing a line. No one should do that. I don't care what circle you're in. Stay the fuck away from that. But when it comes to talking about, you know, this is the price that honestly people in the inner circle might have to pay. Like, yeah, you get early access to stuff. You get inroads. That's fine. That's the way it goes. But it's like, this is kind of, you know, now when shit like this happens, it's like, you want to have it both ways now. You want to be able to be on the inner circle, you know, be able to shake hands with Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, and everybody else and be like, oh, yeah, you know, we'll watch each other's backs and we got each other covered. It's like, well, you also want to report on major leaks that, yes, like, let's be real here. This is doing damage to Sony. Just like the leak that everybody forget about the Microsoft leak. That did damage to Microsoft as well. And it sucked for them too. Absolutely sucked for Microsoft. But this is, again, like, this is next level shit here. And it's like, it's just the way it goes, dude. Now, again, I'm not condoning like taking this footage and like I'm going to upload it randomly on a channel so everybody can see it. I'm not condoning that because it's like that's up to an individual to decide. All right, I'm not going to judge you for that because it's like that's your prerogative. I don't know really what you have to gain from that, but it's just like this idea that you can't report on leaks or you should stop. Like, please, you know, like everybody, like people did it for GTA, people did it for Microsoft, people did, you know what I mean? It's like, why are people acting like, oh my God, we must protect Sony at all costs? Like, dude, I'm good. Like, I want to know what's going on. Okay. Like, I've been fucking sitting here waiting and it is what it is. And I'm sorry. Like, I do feel for the developers. I do. They don't deserve it. Right? Like the developers and the people at Sony who are just doing their job, they don't deserve to have shit like this happen. But, you know, shit happens, dude. It does. Like, I know it's a shitty answer, but that's the world sometimes, bro. And I think like Insomniac will be okay. Yeah. Like, I think they'll come together and they'll be like, well, again, putting the personal data, again, that's the line. Putting that shit aside, because that's the fucked up part. I understand why a developer might be pretty upset to see their early work that's not meant to be seen or judged being seen and being judged. I understand why that would hurt. But I think you'll be okay because anybody who gives a shit about any of this, I promise you, like, they probably are still rooting for you. You know, I don't know that anybody's rooting it. I mean, maybe some people are, but I'm not. Like, I was looking forward to Wolverine, and my excitement for this is not at all deterred. Like, I'm still a day one Wolverine buyer. I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of that game. I'm going to platinum that game. Bring it on, you know? But I can understand why, like, outlets like IGN and Eurogamer and shit, it's like, yeah, if I were Sony, I'd probably turn and say, fuck you. You know? Like, and that's well within Sony's right to do now, where like they can turn to them and say, fuck you, we're done. That's fine. Like, I would expect Sony to do that to me. Like, if I had access to review shit from Sony, I would expect them to turn around if I came out and talked about it like I am now, to be like, fuck you, MBG. Like, fuck you, we're done. Like, yeah, I get it. I get it, you know? But yeah, I don't know, man. If I had it my way, to be clear, am I going to get the deluxe edition of Spider-Man of Wolverine? Dude, I'm going to get the collector's edition of Wolverine. That's what I'm going to do. I will say this. If I had it my way and I could just like again, just make it exactly how I want it. I would make it so that nothing leaked out, and instead we just got a random ass December PlayStation showcase where they announced some exciting stuff and gave us some idea. That, like, if I could snap my fingers and make that the reality that everybody was experiencing right now, I would. But I can't. You're saying IGN is going out with full force? Dude, you know why? They probably realize they're fucked. I bet you that's what it is, man. IGN probably realizes they're fucked. And I want to add this too. Just to, I feel particularly bad for Insomniac right now and anybody who is actually like really affected by this at Sony, because what a shitty fucking time. I'm not saying like there's ever a good time to do something like this, but really the week before Christmas and everybody's supposed to go on their holiday, like this is where I genuinely feel sorry. Like, dude, there are developers out there probably scared shitless knowing that their fucking personal information is floating out there. And they worked all year long to finally be able to get a break and chill the fuck out with their family and their loved ones and their friends. And now they got to like go into the holiday with this type of fucking anxiety. Like, it's like, I think most like, people would be able to walk away from this and say, you know what? This fucking sucks. This blows. I'm mad, but I'm taking my fucking vacation and I'll worry about this shit when I come back. But knowing that there's personal data involved, that to me is the shitty part, where it's like, dude, no one should have to fucking go into the holiday season feeling like that type of anxiety and worry. That's just messed up. That's just messed up, man. I don't understand why they did that. Like, no one even cares about that shit, man. You're saying who is affected? It's just games and LinkedIn. Dude, they had like people's... Well, to be fair, I don't know if they actually leaked. I'm assuming they leaked everything, but they showed off that they have like people's passports and shit. And I mean, you would assume like social security numbers possibly and stuff like that. Just really, really personal shit that just should not be out there. And what I don't understand about that is like, dude, no one wants that. Nobody cares about that shit, man. Like, leave that out of it. I don't get it. Like, if you're going to gain any attention, you're going to do so by having this type of shit, the games, Well, what are you going to do? Honest. I mean, I'm genuinely asking, like, Sony, like, what are you going to do? I don't know what Sony's going to do. I'm assuming that there are many employees at Sony that have not slept yet because they have to deal with this shit. So I do feel for people who have to deal with the stress of it. I do. Like, I don't want to, like, that's the thing, man. I don't want to see, at the end of the day, and look, I don't mean to sound so fucking cringe and idealist. All right. I don't mean to sound so idealist, but at the end of the day, man, we are gamers. Like, we just want to play video games. We want to enjoy it. We want to enjoy what these developers and what these people, who have a passion, what they're creating. And we also are fans. And with that fandom comes, intrigue, interest. And I can say, I feel confident in saying that if we could trade everything that's happening right now for like a small to mid-size showcase from Sony, giving us just a little taste, a little glimpse, I feel confident saying we would all trade this for that, because this isn't, for as interesting as this is, I have to be honest with you guys. Like, I don't know what me knowing about a 2030 X-Men game does for me. I say that as somebody who literally has a PlayStation 5 and has bought Insomniac titles. I just don't know what that does for me. I guess maybe it makes me feel confident that they're still sticking to single player, which is nice, but I expected that anyway. This sales data from Sony is very interesting, but again, like, nothing here was shocking. When Sony has a big success on their hands, they announce it sales wise. So it's just it's an insane situation overall, but I think people need to just kind of realize that when stuff like this happens, you can't stop it. Even Sony knows you can't stop it. Listen, you guys tell me, and I meant to ask you this: has anybody seen content getting struck down? yet? And like DMCA takedown or DCMA, is it DMC? I think DMCA. Has anybody seen that? Because I haven't seen that. Maybe yeah, I haven't seen it at all. And I just think it's because Sony knows, like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? You can't. You're saying you have seen it. Okay. So I guess they're trying. But it's just like it's out there. Like the genie's out of the bottle, man. I think Sony. I think Sony should try to continue to take down what they can of people like just egregiously sharing footage. I think they should go after that because it's like, yeah, that's their job. Like they don't want people to see this shit right now. But I just, it reminds me of the GTA 6 leak where like that went around for a long time, but people are going to just move on, dude. Again, GTA 6 fucking leaked. Like gameplay of GTA 6 and for a split moment it was like, "Oh my god." But then everybody kind of realized, well, like this isn't that exciting. And then they just moved on. And I didn't see those GTA 6 leaks resurface until people were trying to bullshit people when the trailer announcement happened. They're like, "Look, GTA 6 leaked gameplay." And everybody's like, "Bro, that leaked like last year." Like that's not it, you know? So yeah, people are going to forget this shit pretty quick. Like when I say forget, I just mean move on. Maybe won't forget it. Like, we're going to keep some of this in mind, but they're going to move on and it makes sense. Boss, bro. No. We definitely don't have space up here today. Figuratively literal with 2 super chats. Very much appreciate that, buddy. You're saying Returnal hit 1,017K, so I guess that would be 1 million. And Rift Apart hit 2.7 million units in sales according to the leaks. Yeah, I guess that figure from Returnal, I have to imagine maybe by now they sold 1 million. Please don't shoot my wires, boss. And you're saying that's sell-in, but it's not even a year out from release. Apparently, it's as of February 2022, so they're likely beyond that now. Yeah, that's kind of a big confusing factor about these leaks is the time frame. It's just like when we went over the whole Microsoft, section of this where it's like, I mean, that is Sony's outlook in early 2022 almost as a reactionary thing to Microsoft. There was also that leaked email from Jim Ryan where apparently he was saying like, we'll be okay, we'll be more than okay. He could have just been saying that, but let me see here. So there's something else I want to acknowledge here really quick. So we saw that this Venom game leaked out. This Venom game is apparently targeting 2025. Assuming that hasn't changed, do you think the timetable for that could have changed? Because apparently this Venom game is kind of like going to be in the same scope as Miles Morales. Do you think it could be a 2024 game, or do you think that this is going to be one of the bigger announcements that Sony makes in 2024 for 2025? They'll reveal it. Yeah, a Venom game does sound awesome. I'm glad they're doing that because I don't see how they couldn't how they could not do that. Like. Let me see something real quick. See this sucks. See, this is that's terrible. This is the guy Dinga, I think his first name is. He is the studio co-creative director at Arcane. He was the guy that was on stage with the announcement of Blade. He says, "My team and I have been living in sheer terror of a leak until announced. When rumors started circulating, I had my first physical symptoms of stress in decades and legit had nightmares every night. This type of thing hurts, and Insomniac deserves our decency, care, and support right now. Well, see, that's the thing, man. Like straight up, dude. I hope Insomniac devs. I know that they can't do anything about the personal info breach. Sony has to figure that shit out. Sony as a company, and like these are their people. Like Sony has to do something. But I hope Insomniac doesn't feel like. I hope the developers don't feel that shitty about the game side of it, because it's like, dude, fuck what anybody's saying. Fuck what I'm saying. Fuck what anybody has to say about your games that are years out from launching. Like I understand, again, not everybody was so super thrilled with Spider-Man 2, but as far as I'm concerned, Insomniac proved they're fucking good developers. Like they know what they're doing. They've done insane heavy lifting for the PlayStation 5. Like what would the PlayStation 5 be right now without Insomniac? I just hope that they, aren't feeling shitty about themselves, because it's like, you guys, I don't know, you don't have to, like, who cares, man? Like, again, I just hope Insomniac knows that, like, they're gonna get support on their games. At least I would fucking hope so, dude. I would hope so, you know? Yeah, that's true. There's always going to be a vulnerability. Well, I guess I don't know, man. I guess we'll have to just kind of see what Sony does in this situation. All right, so let me see here. One terabyte of data, 1.7 million files out there, and this compilation is just the very tip of the iceberg. Oh Lord. You know what this tells me? Dude, I think we're gonna be learning about more and more stuff in the weeks ahead. Potentially. I don't know if it'll go on for weeks, but that's this is like way worse than I like when I first started the stream. Like I said here, this is the biggest PlayStation leak we've ever seen. Every Insomniac project revealed. Like I'm beginning to think this is well beyond that potentially. A 24-hour stream covering leaks, nah, dude. Yeah, I'm not like my interest in this has a limit, and I'm pretty damn close to reaching that limit where it's just like I feel like I've learned anything, like everything from this that I'm comfortable with learning. Where it's like I don't, unless there's like more info about Sony's plans or something about like what strategies they might be. Like one of the more interesting things we learned from this leak, for example, was like what they might be doing with Spider-Man 3, because I don't think that's consequential. Like I guess for Sony to a certain extent it is, but to me it's just like, okay, yeah, I mean, you guys are spitballing ideas and trying to figure out different ways you can make your games more profitable. I'm not going to hold that against you, because who knows if that's what you're going to do or not. And it's interesting food for thought, But I don't know, man. I'm feeling pretty good about. You're saying look at strategic pillars. Is that? Let me see. PlayStation Studios Steam sales. Oh, this is one I missed. So Horizon Zero Dawn sold 3.3 million copies on Steam. God of War sold 2.5 million. Days Gone 1.7 million. Wow, Days Gone in third place. Days Gone ahead of Spider-Man. Although again, maybe that changed. Spider-Man sold 1.3 million. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves 483,000. Marvel's Miles Spartan God, blah, blah, blah. Miles Morales 450K. Sackboy: A Big Adventure, 62,000 copies. Holy shit. Well, I noticed I guess The Last of Us didn't release yet by the time they put this out, but that right there is proof Sony is wasting their time with some games here. I don't think Sony's probably not looking at Sackboy and being like, that was worth porting. Like, they're probably like, well, fuck, that was a goddamn waste of time. But you know, it is what it is. Like, I guess the assumption is it didn't take them that long. So it's just 62,000 extra sales. Why not? Internal slides on the gaming industry. We covered that already. That was what they said about, you know, the major shifts and threats. Venom game overview. See, I'm not like, the only thing I'm interested with that is, again, like the 2025 date, and apparently it's going to be a $50 title. I don't care about the actual details of the game. I don't want to know the details of the game because it's just like, I don't need to. It's fine. I haven't seen the Ratchet and Clank concept art. I mean, like, Ratchet and Clank concept art, it's like, I mean, what am I really expecting here? You know? I think I have a pretty good idea of what Ratchet and Clank looks like. Dev, build, script. Jesus. And then you got the Spider-Man 3 leaks, and then the X-Men 2030 licensing terms. So, yeah, I think we've pretty much covered it all here. There's not, you know, as much of it as we could. Well, what now? I don't know. How are you guys feeling, I guess, based off of everything we discussed here today? Hold on, Liam. You're saying 50 gifts is insane with that. Yeah, dude. Michael dropped a 50 bomb on this stream, which is crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I think leaks ruin anticipation. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm really trying to avoid, like, I did see some Wolverine gameplay, which is, but you know, it's like, I gotta be real with you guys. Like, yeah, I kind of feel no different ultimately, because it's like, I don't, it's interesting to get this type of insight, but it's like, I really think I would just prefer to just wait and see Insomniac show it to me the way they want to show it to me. Because it's just, it's like, if you walk away from this gameplay, you're like, well, that looked kind of not that great. It's like, well, gee, yeah, wow. I wonder why. It's like, of course it doesn't look great, you know? Is there gonna be a members lounge today? We could do one for a little bit. Yeah. We could do one for a little bit. We'll do a members lounge for a bit. But yeah, I just, you're saying you feel more excited. Yeah, that's the thing, is like, I am more excited about the future of Insomniac, knowing that they have like this plan to really build this. There was speculation a while ago that is Insomniac trying to build basically the Marvel gaming universe, and like, dude, it seems like they are, man. I mean, they're going up to Spider-Man 3. They got Wolverine. They're gonna have a Venom game. Now they're gonna have an X-Men game. They want to make multiple X-Men games. They want to have some multiplayer potentially, if that wasn't canned. So yeah, it's like, it definitely gets me excited about, and we learned about Bluepoint. They're working on a new IP. So you're saying you don't feel any sympathy for Sony on this? I don't necessarily feel sorry for Sony as a corporation and company, because I'll be honest with you, man, it just seems like, man, Sony, this shit happens to them, I feel like, somewhat frequently, but it happens to all big corporate entities, it seems. Wow, that light is really bright, man. I'm looking like a ghost over here. I can't really do anything about it. It's my window curtains open. So I got the white light here I'll have to change the lighting when we go into the members lounge. This is the thing, like I'm not looking at it as Sony deserved this or had it coming. I just look at it as this shit does happen. And Sony is aware, everybody's aware that this shit happens. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's ideal. And I don't think, like, to me, a kind of weird take I've seen today is people saying, like, they had this coming or they deserve it. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, I don't agree with that at all. What the hell's on my chair there? Dude, I gotta hold on. I gotta shut this curtain, bro. I'm looking strange in the light right now. Hold on. All right, that's better. Not as, yeah, not as bright. All right. You're saying years of terrible showcases led to this? No, no, no. See that? I'll be honest, William. Like, that's definitely not a thing. This had nothing to do with that. The reason why this happened is because people wanted to make money, a lot of money. They want to have a big payday, take some valuable shit from Sony, ransom it, and if they don't give us what we want, yeah. Well, I think I think this might be where I call this stream here, because I just don't know that I have much else left to say. We learned a lot today. We learned a lot. We learned more than I think we expected. I did cover this with you guys a week ago. You know, we talked about the first few images of Wolverine that leaked out, and I told you guys how, who knows, like, maybe they're gonna dump a bunch of stuff, but I gotta be honest and tell you, like, I would have never expected something like this. I would have never expected just a complete tsunami of I think the leaks were worth $2 million. I want to say yeah, just for the fact that, like, well, I don't know. Again, it's difficult for me to determine that because, as I've said numerous times, like, I just don't know. I I don't know that if Sony paid that 2 million, that means none of this would come out anyway. You know, you do run the risk of, okay, we'll pay you the 2 million, but then they just do it anyway. So you just gave the people who were going to hurt you either way $2 million. You know, to whereas, like, if you don't pay them the 2 million, they may still hurt you, but at least you know you didn't give in. You're not making them rich in the process. You're saying personal information is exposed. That's true, but again, like, how could Sony know that if we pay the 2 million, like, how do we know you're not still going to leak that information or put it on the dark web or some shit like that, you know? They don't know that. So it's tough. Like, I can understand why they're like, we're not fucking paying you. But I also understand why some people think maybe it would have been better to try, you know, to try to do it, see if it stops it from happening, and hope for the best. You know, basically, Sony would have to pay $2 million to have hope that nothing happens. So it's a tough situation. Saying you never pay ransom. Yeah, it sends a really bad message too. Exactly. Yeah, it opens up more attempts. Exactly. I mean, these are all real problems that come with doing that. So Well, yes, I guess you're right. Maybe Sony has to really try to beef up their security as best they can. I mean, what else can they do? But I think this is where I'm gonna bring this stream to an end because again, I just don't know that I have much else to say on the whole situation. I hope Insomniac is able to recover from this quickly, sooner rather than later. I hope that Sony is able to sort this out and figure out do what they got to do. Um, and yeah, it's I would have. I'll be honest, guys. I really thought that the remainder of the year was going to be just like totally quiet and silent and like no news to cover whatsoever. And instead, something like this happens. And it's like, again, it's not ideal, but would have never saw it coming. Saying MBG stopped making excuses for Sony. They have a history of not caring about cybersecurity. Just look at how they handled the PlayStation Network hack back in the day. Yeah, well, I know that they have kind of a history with this, but that's where I'm like, I refuse to believe that Sony hasn't made significant strides in in improving their boss. Are you serious, dude? That's very rude. Improving their security, you know, for their business and their company since the PlayStation hack. But again, I think this is one of those situations where somebody maybe got tricked straight up. Boss, I can't read the super chat, bro. Come on, come on, come on. I know. I'll give you snacks when we're done. I know he wants a snack, so he's like, I know we're sitting at 100 members. I better get some snacks. You owe me some snacks. Michael Warreneth with another $5 chat. He says, can we get W's in the chat for MBG, a real American hero? Well, thank you, man. That's very kind of you. Michael, no, thank you, dude. I mean, really, that's thank you for the insane support. And this will be a good opportunity for me to just kind of go into the just my outro here. And I do want to let you know we are going to do a members lounge. I'll be honest, I originally wasn't even planning on streaming today, or at least if I was, certainly not about this and definitely not this long. But we are going to do a members lounge. I don't have anything planned for it, but we'll have an extended chat, I guess we could say. And maybe we could go in some other directions as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up that members lounge probably 10 to 15 minutes after the stream ends. So if you are a channel member, I hope to see you there. And yeah, I have to seriously thank you guys for all of your continued support. It is truly a privilege to be able to do this. Sorry, boss just really wants to come on. It's a privilege to be able to do this, to do these streams, to do these shows, to have these discussions, to cover this stuff, and to have your support. So to everybody who donated a super chat today, to everybody who donated a membership, who gifted a membership, again, we're sitting at 100 members, which is massive. Seriously, thank you guys so much for everything. Yeah, I mean, W's in the chat for this community, man. You guys do it time and time again. So, yeah. Whew. Also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter. Okay, Devil Shooter does the timestamps for all the streams. He does a great job. If you see him in the chat or if you see him in the comments, give him a thank you. Show him some love. Just let him know you appreciate what he does for the community. And real American hero, yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. Certainly not. Certainly not. The real heroes are out there, man. Boss, are you a real hero? Yeah, I love that saying, not all heroes wear capes. I like just come across these random videos of people doing like crazy things, crazy actual like kindness and stuff, and or like saving people or animals and stuff, and you always kind of see that. It's like it's definitely true. It's definitely true, but all right, guys, that does it. That's today's stream, man. The biggest PlayStation leak we've ever seen. Every Insomniac project. I'm still super hyped for Wolverine, and I'm excited about the future of Insomniac games. Let's see where they end up going. So, all right, God, it's just I'm sorry. I know I still haven't ended the stream. I just feel so weird. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels weird. Sometimes it's easy to end the streams. Other times it feels very strange and abrupt. But we've been streaming for 3 hours and 40 minutes, so we're approaching the 4 hour merc. We're perching the 4 hour merc. Okay, I gotta go now. I'm gonna see you guys in the members lounge. Yeah, the leaks got me all fucked up, bro. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Um, yeah, so if you are a member, look out for the members lounge. It's going live in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And to everybody else, or if you're just not going to join the members lounge, I will catch you guys in the next one. So that does it. Enjoy the rest of your evening, night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is. I hope you enjoy it. So I'll catch you guys in the next one or in the members lounge. Until then, take care.